Good
What
afternoon,
up?
good afternoon, good afternoon. We are starting on time today. Starting on time today, ladies and gentlemen, is another episode of the Darion Hopkins Show. Today is Wednesday, May 24th. May 24th. Mac, how you feeling today, man? How,
Oh,
how, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. The Celtics came back last night. They played exactly how Boston needed to play, how they should have been playing all series. But you know what? I'll take it for what it is. And we ain't getting sweet. We ain't getting swept. That's the biggest part I took away. They got more pride than that. So we got to take our game and we gonna keep it moving. Let's get on to the next game.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we're going to definitely get into all the breakdown, the percentages, what happened with the Miami Heat in this game. But before we get into any of the topics today, shout out to everybody that came through last night through the Miami and Boston game 4. Pretty interesting game there. We're going to talk more about it. We have some other topics as well that we want to talk about as well. But shout out to SeatGeek and shout out to Bet Us. They are the sponsors of this show. So for SeatGeek, if you want to actually go to a sporting event, live event, concerts, make sure you go to SeatGeek.com and use the promo code DHopkins, and you get $20 off your first purchase. And if you want to get into the betting world and you like sports betting, make sure you go to betus.com or go to the link in the description and receive 125% of your sports book upon your initial deposit. So make sure you go check out those links in the description here. So let's just get to it. Let's just get to the full recap of this Boston game. Now, with me, I'm gonna be completely honest. I mean, I said it on the live stream. We have woken the Boston Celtics up because we came out too comfortable in the second half. We was more determined in the first half, and Boston was making their shots and Miami wasn't. That's
Yeah,
basically what it was. So, from your
honestly,
assumption of it, Mac, how was your assumption of it?
I feel like the Boston Celtics stole their confidence going from the second quarter into the third quarter. You could tell this was not the same Boston Celtics team that played the first three games, and that push, the confidence, and even in the group text, I was like, man, Marcus Smart needs to stop shooting, stop
Right.
throwing them up. And I got upset because he threw up four bad shots in the first half. The first shot in the third quarter was like, I just wanted him to stop. Just stop. Feed the ball to somebody else. Go with the hot hand.
Right.
And then he got hot. And then he got hot. What was that? He went three straight. He hit three straight buckets.
Yeah,
And,
he hit about
and,
three or
and,
four straight buckets right before the half.
and no. It was the second half. The first half he didn't make anything.
But he got warmed up in the second quarter going into the half.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it was like him building that confidence. Him starting to hit that shot, bro. It was contagious, especially in the third quarter. It was contagious. And I will give this. I will give this to Mizzou, dude. He was off the bench, standing up, yelling, play defense, play hard." Like he was yelling at the guys majority of the game, and that's
Mhm.
something that we haven't seen him do like that for an entire game.
Right.
But then again, he knew his job was on the line last night. If they would have got swept, he would have been out of Boston.
Now,
Now
do
I
you
think
think?
that
Now, do you think if he decide, like, if he loses Game 5 in Boston convincingly, do you
oh yeah,
think
if
it's
he
not a
gets blown
blowout?
out, he's probably still done. He's probably still done. But if they fight and he has them guys going like they were in game 4, if it's super competitive and they lose, I think he might keep it because he showed that he can turn it around. And again, he's a first year coach, so he's still got the learning curve. But like I said, it was a big statement last night. It was a big statement, and I liked it. You won by 9. Well, no, they won by what, 17 points?
Yeah.
That made me feel more comfortable because I thought it wasn't going to be more than 10 points. Like even if they played well, but
Right.
for them to even go above that, that's letting you know that everybody on the team as a collective is saying we can still do this. And to have that type of confidence coming into this game is big. It's big.
Mitch, Mitch, we're not going to even get into that, Mitch. We not.
Oh
Shout out to
yeah.
Mitch and the Hardcore Sports Network. Shout out to them and Mitch. We're not going to get into that today. We just not. Lakers are irrelevant at this point.
Yes.
But,
Yes. They're
but
sitting in what was that? They're sitting in Cancun.
right.
They're in Cancun. Let them enjoy
They're in
Cancun.
Disneyland. But to be completely honest, I mean, Boston did what needed to be done.
Yeah, I mean,
They was desperate. They were determined, and I think what really fueled the fire for them is what everybody was saying, from us to mainstream media, how embarrassed how embarrassed they were, even from the team over in TNT, the NBA Countdown team.
yeah.
They heard so much lack and so much lick about Game 3 and being down 3-0. I think enough was enough, but I still feel like they still have to climb.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
They still
like I
have to
said,
climb. So
they need a miracle to win the series, but can they possibly win another game? It's a strong possibility. But to win 4 games straight, again, it's hard to do for any team.
and
So is it
it is hard
impossible?
to do for any sport.
Yeah,
But if you look at NHL, they do the same thing. You look at MLB, they do the same thing. Last time we saw somebody come back from 3-0 in sports in general was the Boston Red Sox in '04. So
yeah.
like it's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Yes, absolutely. But again, like I said, would it take a miracle for it to happen? Kind of, kind of. They're going to need to play Boston ball for the next 3 games to do this. And let's be honest, if we're talking about consistency here, it consistently does not happen.
Right.
Can they play 2 games really well? Absolutely. Can they play 3 games? Yeah. But once you get to that 4th game, that's when it's a toss up. Now, do I hope that the Boston Celtics are the first team to ever come back from down 3-0 and win it? Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, shit. That's another little piece of history we're all sitting here for. But
Yeah.
is it really going to happen? Probably not. But like I said, them winning last night and having the possibility to go home and get another win to really make the series interesting, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, and I'm very happy.
Hey, I mean, and you know what? I'm excited because I'm not even scared to as a new Miami Heat fan. I'm going to throw that out there as a new Miami Heat fan. Um, I'm not if I'm Miami, I'm not scared to win in Boston. I'm not scared to go to Boston because it has proven to me throughout this whole series that Boston struggles at home better than that. I mean, and they play better on the road. Yes, they had one bad game on the road in Game 3 against Miami. But if you look at all the games in the Philadelphia 76ers series, they really had one good game at home out of that whole series. Outside of no, actually, no. Yeah, the game 7 for me, the game 7 and I think it was 2 games. Okay, so it was 2 games. It was game 7 and I think it was game 3. But I think game 3 was on the road, if I'm not mistaken. It was 2 games though that they played good at home. And one thing about Boston, they struggle at home. And I don't know, I just don't understand why. It usually supposed to be the other way around. It should be vice versa, where you're comfortable at home, you can make those shots, you got the crowd behind you. But it's not like that. It's not like that, and it's been like that majority of the playoffs, from the Atlanta Hawks series to the Sixers series, and now this series. So as Miami, I know you wanted to get the sweep, but now it's going to make it even much sweeter if we can do it on a floor. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely, and I understand that standpoint. And you're right. The home court advantage hasn't been much of an advantage for the Boston Celtics,
Right.
or at least they haven't taken advantage of it. And for me, that says a lot, but it also says that it really doesn't matter where they're playing at. They can play good anywhere. And they're almost 50-50 away and at home. So it's not that concerning for me as far as where they're playing. What's concerning for me is how they play and who shows up to play. We need the same game from Tatum. We need the same game from Smart. We need Brown to step it up a notch. We need a bit. And again, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little upset that they started Horford, but I do like that they subbed him out multiple times throughout the game.
Right.
Where it wasn't like he's on the court for 10 straight minutes. He was out there for 5 or 6 minutes. They pull him for 2 or 3 minutes. They put him back out there. So, I mean, I like the rotation that they did. I really liked it when they went small and ran up and down the court. They were forcing Miami to run and to play in transition. And that's how they caught that lead in the third quarter, is playing more transitional ball, fast pace, get it.
Exactly.
And it worked. It worked. And then in the fourth quarter, that's the best fourth quarter I've seen probably since the game seven.
Since the game 7. Absolutely. I was about to say that.
That's the only thing I can compare the game to last night, as far as the confidence. The guys were not giving up. The defense, even when they were giving up a shot, they weren't like walking and lackluster. They were running and moving and competing in all phases of the game. And I love that, because even if you lose, at least you lost competitively.
Exactly. And for me, I see it as this, like, right, if you look at the field goal percentage, it's really pretty close, 51% to Boston, to Miami's 43%. But what killed Miami was
The
from the 3-point line. They was 8 of 32. Most of them shots usually is made at home in that type of environment. 25% from the field. It was just unacceptable. And the fact that we didn't take advantage of the missed shots that Boston made, and we didn't take advantage of the free throws that Boston missed. I sat there and looked like, yo, they're missing free throw shots. As looking at it, the Miami Heat have to contribute. They have to contribute in some way to convert off these free throws. It was mad missed free throws in that game.
The most glaring thing for Miami was Bam. He didn't even get a double-double last night.
He didn't.
You need those rebounds. Those rebounds are what gives you more opportunities to touch the ball. But when you're not fighting for rebounds and you're not crashing the boards, like, that's your job, Bam. Like you don't have to sit up by the 3-point key and always have to run a pick.
But that's what was crazy, though, is that we out rebound y'all 44-39 and still lost.
Yeah, but look, again, I'm not talking about the rebound. I'm talking about Bam himself.
Oh, Bam himself. Okay,
yeah, just him. Because, I mean, that's where he gets his money. He gets 3 to 5 offensive boards a game.
Yeah.
That's what he does. And his job is to put those back. When he's passing out, to pass out, for somebody else to shoot, to me, it makes no sense. You're 7 feet away from the rim. You jump up, it's right there. Like, no matter what shot you put up, essentially, unless it's, 100% contested, it's going to be a better shot than most other people are going to get.
Yeah.
Take the shot. And that's the only thing. Like, there was times he looked aggressive, but he laid back too much. I just
way too much.
He was waiting for Jimmy to go superhero, and like Jimmy was just pulling. Jimmy was the engine. Bam's supposed to be that transmission, putting it into high gear, and it didn't happen.
Exactly. It's so many things that I could lock into. Lowry not really getting any points like that. Caleb Martin is definitely turning himself into a rising star in this league. Caleb Martin has been consistent through these whole playoffs in general. I wouldn't be surprised if they probably put him in the lineup, but what happened to Kevin Love? That Eric Spoelstra, I'm not really understanding. Like, yeah, he played his minutes, but I think he needs a little bit more minutes if you want to help Bam out on the rebounding tip. If you want to come on that, because I really didn't see Kevin Love that much. And I'm gonna be honest, because I'm looking at the minutes right now when it comes down to Kevin Love, and he only played 12 minutes. 12 minutes. That's unheard of. In a playoff game like this, and you don't play Kevin Love enough, That's the problem with me. That's the problem for me.
I mean, but the problem was he was getting beat, especially on
I don't think
transition
so.
defense.
I think he was playing good quality defense.
I'm
Because
just saying, like,
he only
in
had
that
one
third quarter,
foul.
in the third quarter, when they ran the transition, when they ran transitional offense, and they got 3 straight rebounds, and what was that 13-6 run for the Boston Celtics? It was like you could see that Kevin Love couldn't get back in time to get set up where he was
late on some rotations too.
Everybody couldn't get back in time for Miami if that was the case.
I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. That's a big deal because he's one of your best 3-point shooters. He's good. He's one of your best rebounders. I mean, he is still a big man, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't let that be taken advantage of. And when you do, that's what Boston's going to do. Boston's going to try to ram it down your throat as many times as possible until you get a better matchup.
Because, I mean, Taylor Martin played 35 minutes, which is completely understandable because he had 16 off the bench. I mean, Cody Zeller minutes could have went to Kevin Love, and Kyle Lowry played 28 minutes. That could have went to Kevin Love. That's just what I'm saying because Kyle Lowry only had 5. Yeah, he had six assists and 4 boards, but Kevin Love had 4 boards as well. So I mean, like it's almost like the same thing. But
Kyle's a defender and he gets back on defense.
Kyle Lowry is never higher than the 3rd scoring option. Like,
I agree with that, but I'm just saying as far as rebounding goes, Kevin Love should have had more minutes than 12 minutes. Like, that's just asinine in a playoff game with an experienced guy that has won a championship for this team. Understand that you had Kyle Lowry, he won a championship too, but Kevin Love is just as valuable as Kyle Lowry as far as on a board standpoint.
How many minutes did Zeller get? Because
Zeller had 13.
I'm saying, Zeller, from a defensive standpoint, is better than Love.
He was getting. That's what I'm saying. Everybody was getting beat yesterday. Everybody was getting beat. Miami just looked slow.
Yeah, no, I mean,
stand a better chance with Zeller as opposed to Kevin Love, honestly.
Which is true, but I think offensively, I think Kevin Love can stretch the floor. But I understand they got the same amount of minutes, but I don't know. Kevin Love being a starter with 12 minutes, and everybody.
That's usually what he does, though. He doesn't really play a lot of minutes,
or at least give some of the minutes out of Max Strus and give it to Kevin Love because Max Strus looked like shit yesterday. He looked like shit.
Max Strus is still he's just a wing defender. Like, you need him on the court. You need him on the court for his floor space.
But he wasn't defending shit. Simple as that. He wasn't defending shit. Like, like Tatum was cooking him, literally. Tatum was cooking him. Jaylen Brown on the switches, cooking him. It doesn't make any sense, bro. It doesn't make no sense to understand he's a wing defender, but you give 9 points, but he was getting cooked. He was getting cooked. So those 35 minutes could have went somewhere else with somebody that could have did something better in that point.
I don't think that Kevin Love playing more minutes is going to really help them defensively.
It's not going to really help them, but it helps with experience because Strus never been here. I mean, 36 minutes for him to get cooked by Tatum and Jaylen Brown all night. I'm sorry.
Shit. You gonna put Kevin Love on him
all night? That's why
you want to put Kevin. You want to sub in Kevin Love to guard who?
I'm not sub. No, they both starters. They both starters. I'm saying you at least you could break up those minutes and put somebody else in for Max Strus and give Kevin Love a little bit, keep Kevin Love in there and get some more minutes. I mean, you could break it up. You could bounce back Max Strus minutes to about 10 lesser minutes, about 26 at least.
Give him to who? Give him to who though? You gonna give him to Duncan Robinson, who's a lesser defender?
You could give those to Zeller for real. And you can have Butler push the point.
The problem with putting both of them of taking either one of them out is just you just leave you taking Strus out to put in Zeller. He's not the sub for him. Love and Zeller are basically the subs for freaking Bam Adebayo. Like, they don't really want to run too big sets. Like, they run at the beginning.
Zeller's really the sub for Bam Adebayo because Kevin Love starts.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But in the sense that how the minutes have gone over the playoffs, Love starts the game, but he doesn't play a lot of minutes. And even still, when he does come in, he subs in for Bam most of the time when he does go to the bench and then come back in, and he runs basically they only run 1-5, one big at a time. Really, they start the game that way, but they don't finish the game that way, or he doesn't play a lot of minutes.
I think in this aspect, from looking at it last night, too many rebounds that Boston got. You gotta have Bam and Love in there at the same time. You just can't be subbing one big man out and think Bam's going to get all the boards. I think it's time to put two big men in there that can actually get down there and bang and get boards. Because if you look at Robert Williams, you look at Al Horford, they was getting second chance points a lot in the paint. A lot of second chance points. So when it comes down to that, if I'm the Miami Heat, you're going to have to find a way to have somebody else come up with rebounds, because right now, if you look at the stats, nobody was in double figures in rebounds. Nobody for Miami. So somebody's going to have to step up in that area.
It honestly wasn't too many to be had. The way that Boston was shooting, especially not on the defensive end. Like Boston, for the first game, they basically shot the lights out. They shot the lights out last night. Like there's no excuse, no other explanation. Like they were horrid from three the first three games, and last night they turned it up. They actually looked like the 3-point shooting team that led the league. So it's like, it's a give and take, honestly, with that, because at the end of the day, they're running 4 or 5 out. You feel me? With only one big late, and you don't really want to play Kevin Love and Bam at the same time against that matchup against Smart, Tatum, Brown, and freaking Derek White with Al Horford. Who the hell does Kevin Love guard? Who does he guard in that scenario?
I at this point, I'm still confident in Miami could get a win in Boston.
For sure.
I'm definitely confident. And to see it, like, having Butler having 29, then only Bam having 10. Vincent had 17, but he tweaked his ankle. He didn't look the same after he tweaked his ankle.
Kyle Lowry didn't look the same if he turned his
he hurt whatever he hurt on his leg. He slipped.
Shit.
And I don't know what's going on with these floors, man. They need to go find.
The parquet floor is a little bit suspect anyway. Then you got out there trying to wipe it up.
This has been an issue around the whole playoffs period. Because even when you looked at in Boston, with Jaylen Brown slipped, it hurt his hand or something of that nature, drive it to the basket. And then you see, we see that in the Western Conference Finals, a lot of players were slipping on floors. They think about these floors done a little bit better, because these injuries could be really crucial to a team at this point. So I'm not making no excuse. It was no excuse. Miami did not show up. They missed a lot of shots. They didn't convert when Miami was in a slump, and they just didn't look fast enough. At the Heat's going to win. To me, I still think the Heat's going to win the series. So I hope Dante comes in here, because he already betted $50 with me that Boston would go to Game 7, not win it. He said Boston would go to Game 7. I said Boston won't make it to a Game 7. So yeah, I need my $50, Dante, when y'all don't make it to a Game 7. I'm sorry. I want my $50. I want my $50. I don't know why he took that bet. He said, okay, I'm gonna take the bet. Boston will. He didn't say Boston will win. He said Boston will make it to a Game 7. Okay, I can take that.
That's debatable.
I can take that.
That's highly unlikely.
Dante, I see you my Cash App on Instagram. I see you my Cash App.
Has any 03 team ever even forced a Game 7? I don't believe so. I don't believe they've ever forced.
In sports, we have seen it, but in baseball, in 04, in basketball, absolutely not. The closest they got to it was a Game 5 or a Game 6 at the closest. Yeah. So he said Game 7. So that's good. I want my $50, Dante. That's all I'm gonna say. Real Goons TV. That was a crazy bet. Absolutely, it was a crazy bet. But
I was trying to get a guy to bet me that the Lakers nor the Celtics wouldn't make the championship. And this was like 5-6 months ago. And he still wouldn't take the bet.
Nobody was going to take that bet, though. Nobody was going to take that bet.
I had supreme confidence that neither one of us would make the finals. And this guy, he's a supreme Boston fan. I'm like, neither one of us are making the finals, bro. He said this when we were 2-10. I was telling him this when we were 2-10. I said, neither one of us are going to make the finals. He was like, oh, y'all suck. I'm like, bro, we could bet 200, 300, 400, whatever you want to bet. Because they were top in the East, big dogs in the East. Basically, at that point in time and throughout the season, they were, top 3 in the East. So I was trying to get a bet off of him, but shit, he wouldn't take it. He wouldn't take it.
So looking at it from the box score for Boston, Jason Tatum played 42 minutes, 14 of 22, 4 of 9 from the 3, 11 boards, 7 assists, and he did have 3 fouls, but he did have 33 points. Al Horford, 4 of 7 from the field, 3 of 6 from the 3, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 12 points. Marcus Smart had 11. He was 4-11 from the field, 3 of 9 from the 3-point line, so he was more effective at the 3 than he was from the field in himself.
Yeah, like they just hit shots.
Derek White 3 of 7. And Jaylen Brown he was only 1 for 5 for 3, but he was 7 of 16 from the field. All 5 players was in double figures, but ain't nobody get over 20 besides Jason Tatum.
Yeah. They just hit timely threes, especially on that nice little run they ran on. They rattled off like at least like 8-9 threes. So it was like shit. There's nothing. In Miami, at the end of the day, they have shown to be a good 3-point shooting team in the playoffs, but they're not. They didn't show that the whole season, and it kind of reared this ugly head last night. Like they just didn't. They couldn't match them from the 3-point line. And Jimmy, at the end of the day, just missed a lot of easy shit around the hoop that he just normally makes. And we'll see, because their defense didn't show me anything that show me any type of promise. Like, oh yeah, like defensively they have answers. I think that Miami just didn't hit shots and Boston did.
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it. Even though Boston shot 40% from the 3 and 51 from the field, they were just
that's a lot.
Fire.
40,
like 40 from the 3.
Three is insane.
Yes, 40% from the 3. There was 18 of 45 overall.
Yeah, and that's good. You can win with that. You can win with that every day of the week. You make 18 threes, and the other team make how many did they make? Did they make 10?
8 of 32.
Yeah, they didn't even make 10. They outscored them by too many points. They outscored them by at least 20, 25, 30 points from the 3-point range. Like it's you can't win that game. You're not going to win that game.
Miami just look slow. They look They look slow. They look like they look little. The game was pretty close until the end of the second quarter.
Did it look like a home run trot? That's what it kind of looked like.
And I always say this, when it comes down to that third quarter of anybody, no matter what team it is, when it comes down to that third quarter, however you come out in that second half, that determines the game. Because when it comes into that fourth quarter, where's your mentality at? Where's your mindset at? And Miami did not come out with the mindset to go for the kill. You want to come back in this series and try to sweep? They didn't do what the Nuggets did. The Nuggets came out in that third quarter and they came out and they like, listen, we're not going back for a game 5. And that's the mindset Miami did not have last night.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Boston. You got it. You got it, man. You got away.
Resuscitation.
Dyeing your hair.
We haven't pulled the plug yet.
You still have to dye that hair real soon, though. I'm just saying. You still have to dye that hair real soon. That's why. Hold on. That's why you got the haircut.
No. I got
the hair because I had a job interview.
To
be a store manager, and I just got it. I just got the email from him. That's why I clicked off for a second. But I got the job.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats, man. So I got a little clapping for you here. So it's all good. Just Listen Podcast, what's going on? Mr. Khan, man, the OG, he said, if y'all notice in the third quarter has been the key to all these conference finals. And I just mentioned that.
Yeah,
I literally just mentioned that. Like when it comes to the third quarter, it really shows who's going to win the game. It really tells who's going to win the game. And you can just see the momentum shift. But even though Miami looked it really bad at the end of that second quarter, Jason Tatum got hot. And when I said when you get Tatum hot, he's not going to miss. And that's exactly what happened. He missed a few of his shots in the first quarter going into the second. Didn't really do too well the whole second quarter, but when them 3 minutes left in the third, you couldn't tell Jason Tatum shit. And he didn't never look back. He didn't look back at all. So, hey.
And I do. I think it's a combination of Tatum and Smart. And it's, again, once you get multiple guys with confidence, through the roof, it's very contagious. And I believe that's 100% what happened. Now, if Boston can go into this next game and play with that same confidence and play with the same push, I feel like they can win at least one more game.
Yeah, I mean, but
they're home. You're home. You want to try to feed up the home crowd.
Home
But
is
shit,
not home for
I
Boston.
know
I'm
it's.
sorry.
I know.
Home
I'm
ain't home
saying,
for
but shit.
Boston.
Don't
11
I'm
and
saying. At the
23.
end of the day, it
11
has
and
to.
11 and 12 and
listen,
23 games.
I
You need
said
to
that in
lean
the
on that
last
11.
the last two series, I said, "Oh, we gonna play on the parquet floor. We gonna be that." And what
I don't
happened?
know. I don't know if it's the
We
Boston
got
Bruins
booed off the
curse.
court.
I
Yeah,
don't know if it's
getting
the
booed out the
Boston
court is
Bruins
crazy.
curse or something of that nature. When Boston Bruins lost in the game 7, I don't know if it's the curse from that. I don't know what it is, but Boston 11 and 12 and 23 games at home. That it makes me as a new Miami Heat fan pretty confident, you know. So if they could come out and play the way they played in Game 4, then Miami's going to be winning in 6, unfortunately. But I think we're going to end it in Boston. I think we're going to try to end it on their floor and spoil the party. So I got a feeling that that's going to happen. And it's crazy that there's no games tonight, man. It's not even no WNBA games tonight. I'm pissed about this, but hey, I got another job, I got another gig I got to do later on anyway. So I'm kind of happy there's no basketball tonight. So congratulations to you. You got the job now. Boston wins. It's all going your way right now. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's still Team Heat over here. And I gotta show you, I'm gonna send it in the group chat. I got this custom made graphic of a Jimmy Butler that I'm gonna put on the t-shirt. Yeah, that thing about to be crazy. Why? I got them Jones last night too. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I cannot wait to do that. So let's get into some offseason of the NBA right now, knowing that we still waiting for a team to go into the NBA finals. But the Phoenix Suns has 4 candidates to narrow down to 4 coaches of who they want. So for what I see here is that they had Nick Nurse, Suns associate head coach Kevin Young, Sacramento King head coach Jordi Fernandez, sources said. Nick Nurse has emerged as the prominent candidate for the Suns. But they narrowed it down. So right now it's Nick Nurse, Doc Rivers. It's what's the guy name from Milwaukee?
Budenholzer
and Kenny Atkinson.
Budenholzer and Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah. They are the top 4 candidates.
I like Kenny. Kenny's more of a developmental type coach, though. That's what he kind of struck me as more of a developmental. He can work with lesser talent and he can groom up players. But I don't think that this team needs that. I think that this team is ready made and they're ready to try to make a run. So I can see either Mike or Doc getting the job. I like Nick Nurse. I mean, he showed he could win with Kawhi, but it's like I don't know about Nick Nurse yet, honestly. But the way that he coaches and the things that he preaches and is fun and the things that he you know what I mean, the things he lean on as a coach, I think they would be good for would be good for Phoenix. And so would Doc Rivers, honestly.
I'm gonna put. I think Doc Rivers fits. I think Doc Rivers would be better in Milwaukee, in my opinion, than being in Phoenix. Just in my opinion. But I like Nick Nurse. I like Nick Nurse. I like what he did for Toronto when he had the Kawhi time and Kyle Lowry was being that guy and Siakam and them boys. Nobody was expecting Toronto to win a championship, even though we know the reason why they won that championship. OG said Mark Jackson needs to get a damn chance. Absolutely. That's another coach that should have been a candidate for the Phoenix Suns, in my opinion.
See, we need to really see if the thing with Mark Jackson that kind of hemmed him up was really 2 things. The first thing was that he was his whole approach offensively and defensively was kind of archaic. Honestly, they ran a kind of an old school type of game, and it just didn't fit. And the other thing that reports that came out was that he was just a little too what you want to say, like God fearing, you know what I mean? A lot of things was like a lot of preachy. You feel me? You can go back and look at some reports from when he was in Golden State. I think it was the fact that he was just a little bit too like oh the Lord this and the God. That's not a problem for everybody, but it doesn't reach and resonate with everybody. That's the thing, and I think that he kind of lost bases with the ownership and upper management with that. Now they have different management and stuff like that now, so it's like. Maybe he could, you know what I mean? He's learned the error of his ways, seen the evolution of the game and how you communicate with players and shit. But
do you feel like if you look at all these names, right? And you look at all these names, and Mark Jackson at least should be considered. But the fact that
Is
he's
he
not
throwing his
even
name
being
in the hat? Is he throwing
considered,
his name in the ring?
yeah, they a lot of people just say Mark Jackson should be deserving. If you look at last year, he was one of the top candidates for the Sacramento Kings, and they gave it to Mike Brown. So like, if you
Mike Brown had more.
Got interviewed for Sacramento, and they interviewed Mike Brown, and then they gave it to Mike Brown. So
I'm not mad at that
around there
per se.
but
I'm not mad at that. If he interviewed for other jobs, then you know what I mean. I would have to see who did they pick over him. I don't think he interviewed for Orlando. I don't think he interviewed for Brooklyn at the time. I don't think he interviewed for freaking any of these other like low level, mid level teams. I don't think he wants to do that. I think that the Kings were a kind of a team that were on a precipice of doing something, and Mike Brown had already had like recent current experience. It's been a while since Mark Jackson actually coached. It's been a while since he actually sat on the bench, like as even an assistant
because
coach.
I feel like the NBA started to. I feel like the NBA, for me personally, that Mark Jackson is getting blackballed by the NBA.
For what?
Because I feel like he's getting blackballed because out of all those years, he only get one coaching interview. One coaching interview. Out of all those years that after he left Golden State, he only get one coaching interview where there's been multiple jobs from Cleveland to the Clippers to the Lakers to anybody. I'm just naming some names, but if you look at it, Mark Jackson only had one interview, and that was the Sacramento Kings last year. I have not heard his name on anybody else's list.
I'm trying to think if
he left to go to State.
I'm trying to think has he actually thrown his name into the ring? Him personally, I know that people advocate for him, like everybody advocates for Sam Cassell, but again, I think that him going from Golden State immediately to the media side and into the booth and never coming back out, he hasn't been back out since. Like he hasn't, you know what I mean? He hasn't interviewed for associate head coaching jobs or try to sit on bitch. A lot of coaches do that. A lot of coaches do that. Some of the coaches that you name even have been head coaches. So it's like they have taken a step back on their pride to sit on the bench, not be the lead guy, you know what I mean, and learn more and just develop their coaching resume more. And I think that Mark Jackson just didn't do that. Personally, he hasn't come out of the booth yet. Even though it's cushy in the booth, like he's chilling over there, like it's a good gig. He's great with Van Gundy and shit, but I haven't seen him. He just hasn't put his name in the ring. Personally, I don't think that he has. I can't say that he has. I've heard everybody, you know what I mean, advocate for him, but I just don't think that he has, you know what I mean, has the coaching. He needs more recent coaching experience. Like he needs to get on the bench somewhere and be an assistant coach for like 2-3 years, and then he can get his name back in the mix, or at least a year. You got coaches like Sam Cassell. You know what I mean?
Somebody to tell Thibodeau that as well, because I don't like Thibodeau as a coach. I just don't.
Yeah, but Thibodeau
if I feel like D'Antoni gets a coaching job before Mark Jackson, that is a problem. We all know D'Antoni is one of the worst coaches in the NBA. I'm sorry to say, he's garbage. He's garbage. He put up a lot of points. He doesn't coach defense. He doesn't win, and he doesn't. He doesn't win. I mean, he does win. He puts a lot of points, but he gives up as much points as he scores. So it's like
at the time he did coach defense, and I think that, you know what I mean. Where has he been coaching? Nowhere. So he's another one that I wouldn't expect him to get a job because he hasn't even been on the bench. At least Thibodeau sat on the bench and was an assistant coach, and then he became the head coach.
Last time he been an assistant coach before he got the Knicks job.
I thought he was an assistant in where the fuck was he? I seen Thibodeau on the bench somewhere. Was it with Doc? Was it with I had to look up his
Thibodeau is like one of them guys that like he's stuck in his ways too. Like
but he kind of got out of that though. That's why he got the job.
It looked like he was stuck in his ways with New York. But Mac, what do you feel like should be the top candidate out of these four? I mean, you got Kenny Atkinson, Nick Nurse.
So I'm gonna go off of this. Like, as far as the coaching opportunities out there, put the best fit. I'm for the best fit. Who can manage the team that they currently have and get the best out of it? So as far as the Suns, it's like I personally I would love to see them hire Sam Cassell, but obviously they're not going to do that. So
Sam has a problem with interviewing. That's his problem. His interview has been reported to not be as good.
So then
I'll just say that
you're either going to go Nick Nurse or possibly a Doc Rivers. I mean, even what's his name from Milwaukee?
Budenholzer, Mike Budenholzer from Milwaukee.
Even him would be all right there. But personally, like I said, I mean, when you're talking about experience of like Mark Jackson, who hasn't coached a lot and has his own little ways of going about things, and we haven't seen him for years, then I mean, like I said, I would like to see him with a lesser team and see if he can build up a lesser team, like the Wizards. The Wizards need a coach. Go coach the Wizards.
Y'all fired your coach?
I think he can do that because if you look at,
I believe we did.
If you look at the Golden State Warriors,
big staff go. Did the big staff?
Was who?
Who was your coach again?
Wes Unseld.
I don't think they let West go though. Did they let West go?
I hope the hell they did.
That's tough.
and I think Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson can.
You have Bradley Beal. You have
Oh man, don't bring me Bradley Beal. He can't stay on the damn court.
Okay, he doesn't stay on the court. Listen, I do not blame Bradley Beal for not getting on the court. I don't blame him for that.
Oh man,
I mean, they guys to build a system around, and you couldn't even do it.
I mean, if he's not on the court, he's not available.
It's not 1 year. It's 2 years. What do you mean?
Look who he's had to work with. He's had to work with Kristaps, though. I mean, I like Kristaps. I like Kyle Kuzma. They're okay. They're not world changers.
They're okay. So if you got a bunch of okay guys on the team,
what do you expect from them?
With them, come on, man. Then you ain't working your solid as a coach.
I mean, when your top dog don't show up, he don't even show up to work. Like, what do you expect the team to do? They're trying to run and funnel things to Kyle Kuzma.
What's the point of you avoiding an injury when you just keep losing and you have a coach that don't have a strategy or a plan?
He's part of the strategy. You won't even show up to work. You're hurt all the time.
Bradley Beal was more. I don't. For me, I just feel like Bradley Beal. I think he needs to leave Washington. I'm sorry. I think he should. I understand you want to pull the Damian Lillard thing, but no. It's until the top dog for Washington figure out what type of coach fit the system for these players. That's actually a players coach, but somebody that's going to buy in. But that comes from the organization. That comes from the GM. How you draft, how you go into the free agency. It all starts from the top.
We don't even have a GM right now.
Exactly. Yeah, the Wizards, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't put that on the. I mean, I think the coach, coaches. He cooks the food that he's been provided. So it's like if you're going to provide him with freaking Denny Avdia and freaking Kristaps Porzingis and who can't stay on the court, but he showed flashes.
Is a bust. We all know that.
You know what I mean? Gafford is okay. Like these guys are okay. Like who's the guards on the team? They brought in Will Barton and he didn't want to play there. Like I don't know. Like Bradley Beal, like I said, he has an injury. And how good is Bradley Beal? How good do we really think he is? Like he's okay. He's good, but he's not like a superstar. He's like a B-level player to me.
When he's healthy, he's a bucket.
When he's on the floor, he's more than just good. I'm sorry.
He's definitely
more than just good. He's definitely gonna be a top 10 guard in this league. He really can when he's on the floor.
I don't know.
I can't tell you can't tell me 9 guards that's better than him right now. I mean, he just can't on the floor. He scores the way he scores. I just don't see it.
I don't know. Bradley's okay. He's never been like that super duper like guy. I think he kind of fit into that Gerald Wallace mode when he was back with fucking Charlotte, like with the Hornets and shit. Like somebody's got to score, so it's like, hey, I ain't mad at it.
But I'm saying a team like that is where Mark Jackson goes to get back into the league, to get something up better. Now I will say this. Mike Budenholzer, if he goes anywhere, I would love to see him go to the 76ers. I would.
Got to change if that's the case. That's the fact.
You said what?
That roster has to change completely if he goes there. He can't win with that team. He just can't.
Oh, yeah.
He's more of a defensive coach. So it's like he's going to want guys that are going to play defense and buy into a system. James Harden obviously has 9 toes out the door, 1 baby toe left in the door. So it's like, shit. You get rid of him. You got to figure out the Tobias situation. He's making too much money for the production that he's providing. So you need to either trade him or try to restructure his deal so you can get more. You can spend more money to get other players. You know what I mean? Like you got the centerpiece in Embiid, and Maxey as an up and coming guard. But who else is on that team that you're trying to build around at the moment? Like there's nobody. other than those two.
But I can see Mike Budenholzer coming into Philadelphia and changing the culture there. I mean, we all know PJ Tucker is we all know what PJ Tucker can do. We all know that. So it's just like, yeah, I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Budenholzer rebuilding that team. And just like to reiterate before going back to what you said about him going to the 76ers. Now, if you look at Mark Jackson, if he do go to side and go to a rebuilded team, you see that he did do it. I mean, look at Golden State before Mark Jackson got there. He know how to draft. He know how to get quality players. So why not? I mean, that's what I'm saying. People have to realize, even though he had a bad outing with the Golden State Warriors, but the way that he brought in players and the way that he drafted, he knew what he was doing when he does become a head coach. So I just wish that he gets more opportunities with other teams out there.
I think he's got to throw himself out there a little bit more. I think that over time he's gotten even more sunken into that seat on the sideline, and it's like, shit. If you're not going to go coach somewhere in high school on the side, or be an assistant coach in college on the side or some shit, like we don't know what you look at it in
today's game. I think you and Matt can agree. If you look at today's game, why you look like think about a lot of college coaches is not moving up to the NBA. They're getting the same amount of salary that they're getting in college than they are getting in the NBA.
It's less pressure in college though. It's way less pressure in college. It's way less pressure in college because there's so many freaking
college
teams.
You go to though, if you go to if you go to Duke and UNC, or you go
you're
to
the man at Duke and UNC though. You coach those two teams, you're the man. You're not the man when
I'm just saying, if you go to a top 25 college team, you're going to get that pay, and it's going to be high expectations, most likely 99% of the time if you're a top 25 team.
I think that we've seen with coaches trying to come from the college ranks that it's completely different. Even on both sides, on both of the major sports, football and basketball, like the way that they can preach and really implement the stuff with the young men as opposed to millionaire players is completely different. Like they don't have the same impact. They don't have the same level of control. You feel me? They don't have the same level of commitment from players that are just trying to really play. You feel me? Even with the NIL deal, not everybody's getting an NIL deal, and not all of them are getting paid. But you go to the NBA, everybody from the 15 man is getting paid, and he can have an attitude about his minutes, go to management, and all this other shit. You feel me? In the media firestorm that covers the NBA, I think that we've seen over time, like not too many college coaches come from college and come straight to the NBA and actually be good. Like the last one has been Billy Donovan. He's been the last college coach.
Billy Donovan, and it's crazy because they try to throw Jay Wright name out there. I don't think Jay Wright wants to coach anymore.
He doesn't want to coach the NBA.
He solidified himself. He don't want to coach anymore. That's why he left Villanova. It makes sense. I don't think he will come to the NBA.
Now, outside of NBA players that are coaching college teams, maybe some of them could come to the NBA because they have that knowledge and just that connection with how to connect with players and shit like that. But I don't know about a pure college coach like a Shaka Smart or some shit like that. Like he's not coming to the fucking NBA. He's a good coach though.
He's a great coach. He's getting just the damn near amount at where he was at Texas.
Why the hell would he leave?
A boatload of money at Texas, man.
He's the man at Texas. He's the face of He's the face of the team because he's going to be the most consistent year in and year out while he's there. NBA is like the players are the faces of the team and not the coaches. The coaches are the afterthought in most cases.
Bobby.
Like I don't even know who the hell the coach is in Orlando. Who the hell is the coach in Orlando?
Now you want to rise from the dead since Boston won a game. Now you want to rise from the dead.
Where you been at?
When Miami went up 3-0, I didn't hear a word from you like the last week. I didn't hear you like the last week, Bobby. So now you rose from the dead. So you rose. You feel like the Undertaker right now. Yeah. You feel like the Undertaker right now. But yeah, man, I feel like wherever these coaches go, hopefully it's the best fit for these teams. It's gonna be a lot of interesting things going on in the NBA, especially about the free agency is gonna be coming along. They talked about some surprise landing spots for some teams. Like they thinking like it's only 5 players that, because I forgot to put this on there because I was reading it earlier today, but 5 free agents that have surprise landing spots. And this is an article from Bleacher Report saying that number 1, Fred VanVleet would be a fit in Utah. He carries over the $22.8 million option through 2023 and 2024. He could sign a new 4 or 5 year deal. But staying in Toronto is most likely the scenario for Fred VanVleet, in my opinion.
I think Fred maybe I can see Fred leaving, but I don't know about freaking Utah. I can see him going to somewhere like Phoenix or some shit like that if they don't bring back Chris Paul. They have a glaring hole at the guard position. You know, I don't know about Utah though. Utah, they started out hot, and I think that a lot of their guys just, you know what I mean, just fell off the face of the earth after a while.
So, fellas, I'm having Carl Hobbs, the new assistant coach at Georgia Tech, in Orlando Vandross, associate head coach at Virginia. They'll be coming on. Yeah, shout out to the con man too. He does have his show every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. I'll definitely send the links out for that because the con man, he's an OG. He always have like the old basketball players on there, the new basketball players. They have different coaches and stuff. So shout out to him on that. But Mac, you feel like Fred VanVleet should stay in Toronto, or do we go to a different team outside of going to Utah?
No, I mean, go where you're where you want. Are you chasing the ring, or are you chasing the bag? You know what I mean? If you're chasing a ring, then you want to go somewhere like Phoenix. You know what I mean? You want to go somewhere that's going to compete. I mean, shit. I ain't gonna lie. Even Brooklyn.
You know what? Brooklyn is a young team and put with Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges.
They can use another guard. They can use a lead guard.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it's just there's multiple teams. If you want, even LA, if you want to go play, that kind of make sense. Could you imagine having Austin Reeves and VanVleet playing
as your 1-2 as far as point guard and shooting guard? Yeah,
that would be nuts. Now again, how they would be able to do that is, we're not talking about that
because the money wise, because the cap is just
the cap is going to be ugly. The cap is going to be ugly for most teams that are up in the higher echelon, other than like Sacramento or somebody like that. A lot of the top teams, a lot of the playoff teams have some horrible cap situations as far as trying to bring in new players, and it's going to be complete roster overhauls with a lot of these teams, Lakers included. Like some of these teams are really going to have like only 3 or 4 guys come back from this year.
Absolutely.
So speaking of Porzingis, they saying Porzingis to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's kind of a logjam at that position though. Chet, I like Chet. I'm waiting for Chet to come in the game and actually show something.
We gotta see how healthy Chet is gonna be. That's the thing.
Chet is kind of swole. Chet is good.
He's
he looked swole in these last little workouts I seen.
He listen. Only thing I really need for Chet, I need him to get in that 200 range as far as muscle wise. Because 195, he a little slinky. He got to get like at least 215, 220 ish with his 7'1", and you can still be athletic with being a little bit more muscle, or you can still be athletic in that way. But I think Chet, he's still young. I mean. Porzingis been around the league. We all know Porzingis is a bust when it comes to it, but I don't think him going to the.
He had to take a pay cut. Clearly, he had to take a
pay cut.
Clearly, you have to take a pay cut. Clearly, you have to take. You're not the superstar player that we're trying to build around here. So you clearly have to take a pay cut, and he may, depending on how good Chet is, he may have to come off the bench.
And what's crazy about it is they say here that Porzingis has become one of the NBA's better ring protectors and floor spacers, holding opponents to 53.5%, shooting from within 6 feet. It drops off to 11.1% off their average. He also puts up 23.2 points, 8.4 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and 1.5 blocks. And he hits 38.5% from threes when he was with the Washington Wizards this past season.
See, I think with the Wizards,
he's only 27, and he's only 27.
With the Wizards, the thing with the Wizards, like I said, was that he was thrusted into a role as basically like they had Kyle Kuzma as basically the 1, and freaking Kristaps was the 2 because Bradley Beal barely wanted to show up. So it's like somebody got to score. I think that if he goes to one of these other teams, his role is definitely going to be diminished. His pay is going to be diminished. He can still provide, offensive punch here and there, but I don't think he's going to be asked to shoot it 15 to 20 plus times a game anymore, or try to go out there and get you 20. If he can get you 15, 17, actually protect the rim, and be a good floor spacer, then that would be great for a team. But I think his injury history and just the things that we've seen when he's been the number 1 option, has just shown that when he goes to a different team, he's not going to be that guy. He's not going to be that guy depending on where he goes. If he goes to Oklahoma City, he's still like fourth in line. They got the young Williams kid. They got Giddy. They got Shea. Then they bring in Chet. What is
Jalen
he, third?
Williams and
Yeah, what is he, like fourth in line?
They got a very young team over there. They really do.
Would he go to San Antonio? That would be nice. Him and Wemby.
Hey,
we spitballing some shit.
Make the call.
Pop wants somebody that's going to actually play hard. Is Chris Steph going to play hard all the time?
We don't know.
He showed out in Washington because he's trying to get paid, I think. That's what they do in contract years. They show out. People show out. And now he's up for free agency, and it's like, shit, well, what are you going to do?
So Bobby says, I wonder if Smart gets traded because Van Vliet ended up with the Celtics.
I think they already have a logjam at guard. I think they really want to play Brogdon next year. Brogdon and White.
If Smart gets traded, Brogdon's will come the starter.
And White's going to be his backup.
He's not going to be a 6-man no more.
Yeah, White's going to be his backup. They want to roll with those two. They want to roll with those two. I can see Smart going somewhere like shit with either LA team take Smart. You know what I mean? Could he go to Phoenix and bring a defensive presence at the one?
And that's what I was about to say. If Smart goes anywhere, his best fit, like hands down, like start day one, would be with Phoenix.
It would be with Phoenix.
What if a one team that really don't get talked about in free agency pull that off? And that's Denver going to get Marcus Smart. What if they pull that off?
The problem with Denver is that it's got to be a fit. It's got to be a fit there, and I think that he can fit defensively. But I think that his willingness to want to shoot sometimes it kind of combats the team flow that Denver wants to do. And he's not going to have the ball in his hands. He's definitely not with Jamal Murray on the team. Does he start? No. Does he start over KCP? No. Or Michael Porter Jr.? No. He doesn't start there.
I was kind of hesitant to say about the KCP part. I was hesitant.
But does he start over KCP though? KCP knows his role in the offense. And he plays defense. He just shoots. Like he knows his role. And Mike Malone loves players that know their role.
Reminds me of a little bit of a Marcus Smart in some ways.
He's less aggressive in the sense of trying to hijack the offense. That's the thing to me.
Right. So, like, if you look at it from a hustle standpoint, you're definitely going to get that out of KCP.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
so you get that out of Marcus Smart as well. So,
like, come on.
I can understand. I can understand that.
But Phoenix would be a ready-made spot.
He had a question. He said, "Yo, fellas, what's going on with Ja saying bye to family in the NBA?" That I don't know nothing about.
He's off social media. He's off social media. That's what he's saying goodbye. He's saying goodbye to all his social media accounts. He gonna delete them, and I mean that's the only thing that makes sense. What you think the man's gonna kill himself? You think the man's leaving the NBA, leaving the spotlight? Absolutely not.
Well, it says it on TMZ Sports. I just got the notification. It says on TMZ Sports on Twitter, saying that the cops do a welfare check on John Morant after concerning social media posts. So I don't know what's going on with Jai at this point. I don't think is it really social media or like I really don't know the whole situation here. I'm trying to pull up the actual thing on TMZ Sports. It's taking forever for some reason, but yeah, like let me just go like because that's his mind is just not where it's at right now. His mind is not in basketball. And I don't know what's going on with Ja. I really don't know. Hopefully he could figure it out and by next season because he's going to get a lengthy suspension. So it's saying that cops do a welfare check concerning posts claims that he's taking a social media break. So Mac, you might be right there.
Yeah, I mean I look, like I said, with everything that's gone on and everything that's happened over the last, 2 years, really, with Ja, and everything that's continued to happen, it's what's needed. He needs to take a break from social media, so there's not opportunities for something to be posted that shouldn't be posted. You know what I mean? He also needs to take time and step back and reflect and see, like, what am I doing with my life? What am I looking at? Everything I'm jeopardizing? Like it's more of real life than it is just, being a basketball player, being whatever, he wants to be. He needs to have time to reflect on who he is on the inside, what needs to happen with him, and how he wants his life to continue to go. Do you want to continue to try to live out a hip hop fantasy, a gangster life, profile, or do you want to realize that you have millions of young kids looking up to you that want to emulate you and not just do what you do on a basketball court? They want to do what you do off the basketball court. And that's what these kids are seeing. And that's what the kids are hearing. And even my son thought it was cool as shit to see Ja have a gun. He's 15 years old. My son should not be looking, you know what I mean? And I told him, I was like, no, regardless whether it's legal for him to have or anything like that, when you got a guy that's pulling guns out and playing with guns, like, it's gun safety.
It's not cool in general. It's not just cool in general, not just John Morant. It's not cool in general for any type of role model or somebody a kid looks up to, or they know that the kids look up to them to do that.
I think that's I think that the role model thing, as Charles Barkley, I kind of lean more towards the Charles Barkley theory as far as role models go. You pick and choose, and the parent is the one that influences the role model. You should be the child's biggest role model. If the child is looking for role models outside of the household, that's a problem. NBA players, it's not in his contract to be a role model. It's not in his contract to be an upstanding citizen. It's really not. It's in his contract to be a professional and be a professional
at the same time. At the same time, you know that you are a public figure. You know that you are an NBA star. So you have to. So you have to understand when you get into that limelight, and just like Bobby said, John Morant was not ready for the huge spotlight, and it's showing. It's showing.
I think that his actions, I think the shit that he's doing, I haven't seen him be. What has he done illegal at the end of the day? That's always been my main kicking point. He hasn't done anything illegal.
That you used, I feel like it's literally like saying you come out of a grocery store, you put your groceries in, you got an empty bin, and what do? You just push it. I didn't slam it into that car, but I also did not let it slam into the car. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, I think the narrative
is still what he's doing. My thing is this about John Morant, right? And I'm gonna just keep this here. Now, I understand he probably won't say that he did anything illegally, because in the state of Memphis, you can carry anywhere, anyway. But you are an NBA player. You're actually understanding that you're representing a brand. When you go on live, when you go on social media, you're representing a brand that you work for. That's like us in a workplace. We are representing a work. We're understanding that we're in a workplace, and we go on social media, and a lot of jobs can really find your social media. They really can.
It wasn't, but these two incidents wasn't from his social media. It was a video from the club. No, that was not his phone. That wasn't his social media.
He was live on Instagram with a gun in the club.
But that wasn't his video. That wasn't his recording. That was somebody else recording him.
No, the first one was his. The second one wasn't his live. The first one was his. The second one wasn't his.
I don't know.
Because John Morant, that's how people found out so quickly about the gun in the club, because they found it on John Morant's live. The second
and they said it wasn't a gun. They said it was a lighter.
The second one wasn't on his live. So
the first one was a lighter for sure. Like if anybody ever seen one of those gun lighters, that was a lighter for sure. 1,000%.
Come on, we cannot.
You put a gun in a lighter. The first one?
No, I know what a gun in a lighter looks like. I know what a gun in a lighter looks like.
That was a lighter, bro.
Kidding me? A gun lighter. A gun lighter doesn't weigh heavy like that. A gun lighter doesn't look.
I've seen AK-47 gun lighters.
There's no way that a lighter gun that looks like it's loaded. Come on.
There's a store near my house that has an AK-47 gun lighter in the damn window. It looks like a real gun. It's a fucking lighter.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Believe me that I've seen it.
We already know what Baltimore does. Baltimore carry guns like it's the goddamn wire. We already know this. This ain't nothing new with Baltimore. But I'm saying for a guy that is an NBA player that has the stardom, You have to understand that you represent not just the NBA brand, you understand as a businessman and as a basketball player, you have brands under you that's multi-million-dollar companies. Some things you just can't do. And what he did, even if it did look like a real gun, it's still going to look bad on him because he's representing brands that's million-dollar companies that don't want to see that.
I think that those personally, I agree.
Business aspect of you losing money.
I agree with the business. I agree with the business aspect of it, but that's not what that wasn't the discussion. The discussion was more so along the lines of role model and being a representation for children. I don't think that that's his job. His job is not to be a role model. It's just not. It's not. His job is to be
a role model, but kids do look up to him.
That's true, but that's not his.
So now
that's not his issue.
So now with parents, when people go into the sneaker store and they see the John Morant sneakers, they parents ain't gonna want to buy that for Ja. They're not gonna to support Ja because you had a gun on social media and my kid was affected by it. And
that's impacting business sales. That's more so business sales, but that's not being a role model is no NBA player's responsibility. It's no professional athlete's responsibility. That's the parents.
But they choose to be that.
Who chooses to be that? They don't choose to be role models.
LeBron James chose to be a role model. You'll never see him in no type of trouble like that.
That's because he's a father. He's a father. He has no choice but to be a role model because he's a father of his own. He's his own dad. You know what I mean? Same with Ja, but he's not.
As a father, he has a daughter. He has a daughter.
But again, it's not in his contractual obligation to be a role model. It's never been. It's never been in any professional athlete. Like I say, I lean more towards the Charles Barkley line of thinking. He's not responsible to be a role model for anybody.
Charles Barkley that's been through mad shit in his career.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's been steadfast in saying that he's not a role model. If you're looking at professional athletes as a role model and not in the household, that's a problem. If you're looking for celebrities to be role models, that's a problem.
If you have to think about it in the black community, or
your father should be a role model.
The basketball community as well. Young basketball players look up to NBA players. A lot of these a lot of these men, a lot of these young men don't have fathers in their life.
They don't. That's the problem. That's the problem. They're looking for role models in the wrong places.
That's the society that we live in. That's the society that we live in. At the end of the day, somebody they gotta look up to somebody. They gotta look up to some type of male model.
Yeah, but if you're looking at maybe pick an uncle or something like that. If you're trying to look at professional athletes and expect them to live this high, to live above, you know what I mean, and you look up to them
above
in a
what?
sense that
above what?
above anything. They're not. Again,
that motherfucker got no job.
What gun did he shoot?
Ain't got no life trajectory. Is doing.
What gun did he shoot?
If that's how you choose to live, then maybe the NBA needs to cut his contract and let his.
I haven't heard of him shooting guns, shooting anybody. People get into interactions all the time.
You're representing a brand. You're representing a company, a multi-million-dollar company in the National Basketball Association.
I agree. I'm not the argument
on the brand. No,
the argument is not with the brand.
To the NBA because of his talent.
The argument is not against the brand. The argument is against him being a role model for young children. That's not his job. It's not his job to do that.
Okay. So then why does he run mini camps? Why does he have children teaming up with the boys
basketball camps and all that?
Why is he
They all do that though. They all do that though.
But that makes you a role model.
But he doesn't want to
make a role
model.
That doesn't make him a role model to me. He's doing basketball camp. He's not a life role model.
Who's at that basketball camp?
He's showing them basketball.
Listen, who is he interacting with? Who is he building relationships?
Okay. We all can't talk at the same time. It's not a life camp. It's a basketball camp.
And that's what basketball camp goes for, to go see a role model.
But it's a role model for basketball, how to play the game, not how to be an upstanding citizen. He's not running a citizenship camp. He's running a basketball camp.
It's not about that. When you think about the inner city community of basketball, they're going to look up to NBA basketball players when it comes to the inner city basketball players. No. Hear me out. Because if you look at it from the inner city, you can go to any court out there right now and ask them in the inner city and ask them who they look up to, who they consider as a role model. They're going to say an NBA player before they say their aunt, uncle, niece, cousin, whatever. You're going to.
I think that Matt can attest to this. I think that Matt can attest to this as a parent. Anybody that's a parent knows that they should be the number one role model for their children, not nobody else outside of the household. Not nobody else outside of the household. You should be Matt. You should be the number one role model for your son.
Agreed, but you are fathers. You are fathers. A lot of these kids out here don't have fathers or have uncles like that.
But that don't mean that they should look
their
up to
environment and how they live.
They are looking for role models in the wrong. There are plenty of mentorship programs. There are plenty of Big Brother programs. Is it there? Is it not? Is it not? There is. There are plenty of other avenues.
The inner city is not really much hope in the inner city.
So, hold on.
We know this.
No, bro. I'm from the inner city, so I know. I'm just saying. But I don't. I've never looked at. I love Kobe Bryant, but I've never looked at him as a role model. Never. I've never looked at Kobe. But because I know that my dad is my role model. Duh.
Because you had a father. Most of these kids don't have fathers.
My dad was locked up my whole life.
Most of these kids don't have no role models, period. They don't have nothing but they mother.
I think again, role models can be in different avenues and different shit. But I don't think that you should be looking at professional athletes as role models. I just don't think that. If you want to look at them as something to aspire to
as a role model, so in that Jerome Bettis is my idol, is my role model. The reason why I wear 36, so he's not a role model to me.
Is he though? What interactions do you have?
He's a role model to me because he came from the same type of environment that I came from.
How can he be your role model? You have no interactions with him. You have no conversation. The only thing he's a role model is that you see how he plays.
It's somebody that's inspired that came from the bottom and made it.
That's an inspiring story.
But role model because you're inspiring.
No. Not how he is in the day to day.
If you are a professional athlete and you're not inspiring, you should not be a professional athlete. Period.
Well, I don't. He can be inspiring in plenty of ways, and the way that he's mainly inspiring is that his skill on the basketball court. That's what's inspiring to players. Ja Morant came from a two-parent household. He's not the poster boy for
holding guns on social media. He's stupid.
Period. I agree with him being stupid. I'm not
the same shit.
I agree with it maybe being stupid, but we're not arguing that. We're arguing whether or not it's his responsibility to be a role model. It's not.
We're not saying that's his responsibility. We're saying kids think that he's a role model.
But that's the problem. Kids are looking for role models in the wrong places.
With that logic, his dad is a piece of shit role model.
Thank you.
Okay, then. Okay. That's fine.
No. That's it. Nothing else.
He can't debate that. That's fine.
Okay.
You can say that if you want.
Hey.
You can say that if you want. His dad. That's his dad. Who do you think Ja Morant looked up to? Who do you think was his biggest role model? His damn father.
Who?
Ja Morant. It was his dad. It wasn't AI.
And he's still making a stupid mistake. That means his dad is a piece of shit too.
Okay, cool. I mean, there's no debate here.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. His dad, I don't see pictures of his dad waving guns and having guns from like. There's no picture surfacing that his dad was a gangster.
So what does that show you? That show you that Ja Morant has the perfect role model at home, but he's looking looking for role models in the wrong places. That's the problem. He's looking at people with these guns in these videos as role models when he has the perfect role model at home. That's a problem. That's a problem within that family household, not in the fact that the rappers are having guns. They shouldn't be role models anyway. What rapper should be a role model?
Wrong.
Which one? Jay-Z, maybe? And he sold drugs and shit. He talks about it all the time.
As a role model. You said they need to use their parents as a role model, but you just in turn pointed out like, but most don't use their parents as a role model.
I agree.
Over their parents. They do.
I agree, but that's a problem for the household. That's not the problem for the person that they're looking up to. That's not it's not Tupac's responsibility because people want to look up to him as a gangster, but you have Uncle Clarence, you have your father Clarence Thomas.
People look at the Tupac as a role model because they knew that he was just more than a gangster. They knew that he was inspiring. They knew that where he came from and where he got to be as a rapper. If you go look at the Dear Mama documentary and look what he went through to be to where he was at before he got killed, that's inspiring to kids that's going through the same shit. That consider you a role model without calling you a role model. Simple as that.
Yeah, but he wasn't aspiring to be a role model though. That was never a part of his DNA or anything. That has been something that has been
changes by Tupac. He said he looked up to he was trying to get the kids to inspire. That was one of his lyrics in the song.
Yeah, but he also did other shit as well. That's not to say that
He did a lot. He did a lot
but
for
he
the
took it
Black
upon.
community to
But
inspire
again,
them
I
that there's
agree.
hope.
But that's not his job. That's not his responsibility. That's something that he
It's
did
not
on
his
his own.
responsibility, but that's not his responsibility. He never called himself a role model, but he wanted to have a change in the community. He wanted to have a
I
change.
agree.
He didn't want to be
I
called
agree
a
with
role
you
model,
as far
but
as
it's
Tupac and
people
his
out there that consider him as a role model.
right. But
We're
at the
not
end of the
saying that
day,
he
they could.
is, but it's kids that looked up to him say, "Oh yeah,
I
Tupac is my role model."
right. I
Without
agree with
Tupac
that.
saying
But
that.
I agree with that. But again, that's not his job. It was never his job. He even said it. That's
We're
not
not
his job.
saying that.
Okay,
We're
then. So
going to
what
the
are you
next topic,
saying?
man.
You can't say that John Morant.
I'm saying this. You don't have to be called a role model to be a role model. You don't have to say, "Oh, Tupac is a role model." If I say, "Oh, Biggie is my favorite rapper of all time," and he's my role model, Biggie probably don't think himself as a role model. I think he's a role model.
Right, but that I'm not saying. I'm not saying you're wrong.
For myself because I'm inspired to what he's doing.
I'm not saying that you're wrong in doing that, but all I'm saying is on the other end of that, it's not Biggie's responsibility to be your role model. It was never.
Done with the conversation.
It never
done
was.
With the conversation, man. I'm done with the conversation because it's not clicking. It's just not clicking.
It's clicking. It's the fact that you look up. You're looking up to people that don't necessarily want you to look up to them, or it's not their responsibility to have you look up to them.
On to the next topic.
Like the NBA players, you're gonna have people that look at you as a role model. That it's
true.
You have that.
I agree.
If you don't want that influence and you don't want to be a role model,
don't do this shit. Don't do this shit that's going to inspire people. Don't do it.
Walk away.
What you mean? He can't play basketball? He can't play basketball?
We're not talking about that.
I just said walk away from anything other than basketball. You don't do no mini camp. Don't do no.
You can't do basketball mini camps where he's teaching basketball.
That shit.
Teaching basketball is inspiring kids.
Again, it's inspiring him as far as his basketball skills and his basketball know-how. It's not a life camp. He's never once held a life inspirational camp like Michael Vick or some shit. Michael Vick has done shit like that, but he's never done that. He's never ran a camp where there's no basketball. We're strictly talking about life shit. Go to school, do your homework, respect your mom.
They do that at camps. They tell them that at camps.
They don't do that at all camps, bro. I've been to multiple camps. They don't do that at all camps.
A couple years ago, I just recently went to a Hassan Riddick football camp. And I took at the time, it was my stepson. Took my stepson there because he wanted to meet Hassan Riddick because he looked up to Hassan Riddick ever since from Temple. Even though that Hassan Riddick probably don't think himself as a role model, but my stepson looked up to Hassan Riddick because he wanted to.
I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying that that's wrong. We're not saying it is wrong for your children I'm not saying it's wrong for your stepson to have seen Hassan Reddick as an inspirational figure. What I'm saying is that Hassan Reddick, as you stated, has not made it he's not made it his business to be a role model. It's not his business to be a role model. That's not what he's done.
Don't teach kids the game of something that you don't inspire people to do. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
What? You talking about the game of football? He's teaching them football.
Listen, he plays football, but at the end of the day, what you're doing with these training camps and these summer camps is giving back to the community, and that's inspiring.
Right.
Give back to the community.
Right. As far as giving back to the community, spreading your knowledge of the game, spreading your
role model,
but not as far as how to live your day-to-day life. He's talking about football. He's talking about football at this camp.
You won't see Hassan Riddick post guns on social media. Absolutely, you won't see that.
You probably won't, because he probably knows that that's probably a dumb idea. I'm not debating whether or not it's a stupid idea or not. We're not debating that. It's a dumb idea for him to post guns online, especially after the fact that after he's gotten in trouble for it. That's stupid. I'm not debating that. We're not debating whether or not it's stupid for him to do that. It's clearly dumb. It's not smart for parents to allow their children to look up to people outside of the household when they should be the number one role model. As a parent, I know this.
How old is your oldest child?
My son is 14. I'm his biggest role model.
We're not saying that you're his biggest role model, but your son probably has other role models as well outside.
I doubt it.
Probably tell me to my face, but behind my back, it's somebody completely different. And it's hard for me to believe, especially when kids get to teenagers.
I don't see how. I'm his father.
Parents are so
I'm his dad. I'm his biggest role model. I am. I'm sorry to tell you that.
Be his biggest role model, but the fact that you say you feel as though he doesn't have another role model outside of you is bogus.
I don't think he looks up to somebody the same as he looks up to me. I think he's inspired because he sees the things that they have and the things that they show on videos and shit. He's not looking up to them as far as day-to-day life, how to be a man, as far as a rapper. Why would he?
We're not talking about that though. We're talking about what inspires. What does, outside of you and you being his biggest role model, what inspires your kid to do what he does?
What you mean do what he does as far as what? As far as a sport?
I don't know what your kid does, so I don't
know. He plays
know.
Football. He looks up the football player for the shit they do on the field.
Who does he look up to outside of you that plays football in the NFL? Who else does he look up to?
He looks up to football players, but he looks up to them for the skills that they have and the things that they do on the field, not for the man that they are.
That's inspiring.
I'm not saying, again, you're not hearing me. I'm not saying that him showing his skills, like John Morant at a basketball camp, is not inspiring because he's showing them the things that he learned on the basketball court. He's not having a life camp where he's teaching them do's and don'ts. It's not what they do. That's not what they do.
But you got to understand from a black community, knowing that you come from the inner city, a lot of kids don't have hope like that.
Stay in school. Don't do drugs. They all tell you the same.
They hear that shit from their parents. That's not really inspiring. That's basic shit.
You live in a day and age where you think a lot of kids these days have both parents or one parent.
I don't think that because I live in Baltimore. So I live in Baltimore, Maryland, so I know that as a fact.
Okay, so you got to understand where they got to look somewhere else for an outlet when you know most kids in the inner city don't have hope.
But just because you're looking at an athlete or a rapper, you feel me, and you see the things they do, you don't see the shit they do on a day-to-day basis. You don't see the shit they do on a day-to-day basis.
I'm sorry.
I'm from the environment, so I understand. I never looked at any rapper.
You should understand where I'm coming from then.
There's no rapper that I ever looked at as inspiring.
Nobody look up to rappers right now because all the rappers in the game right now.
John Morant does. John Morant does. He lives in Memphis. He looks up to rappers that he see all the time. He looks up to rappers, not his dad.
That's bad role models that he looks up to.
That's bad on his father for allowing shit like that to happen.
What is his father supposed to do? Beat his ass with a belt?
I don't know what his father was supposed to do. He should have did something different. My son don't play with guns. My son don't think it's cool to stay up all night and run the streets. My son don't think it's cool to motherfucking call women hoes and bitches and shit. But he like rap music. That's not the same thing because because I'm his biggest role model. I show him what to do and what to not to do. They should look up to other people, other father figures. There's plenty of other outlets to look up to than professional athletes or people that make songs and shit. And you don't know what the fuck they do on a day-to-day basis. Only thing you see is what you see. You don't know what the fuck John Morant does on a day-to-day basis, sir. We don't know what these people do on a day-to-day basis.
Like every child is exactly the same. Every child, if you show them a good role model, they're going to take that remote. But that's how you're acting, and that's.
I'm not acting. No, you're not. I say what I mean. I say what I mean. I mean what I say. I have no other hidden agendas, or you don't have to read between the lines.
Come on, man. Let somebody else talk for a second.
You don't have to read in between the lines, sir. You're trying to tell me how I think, and I don't think that way.
Responsibility.
Just because you don't think that way.
No, I'm saying that's what he said. He said that I think that way. I'm just saying I don't think that way. He's trying to say that I think that way and I don't.
That's what you just hitting here saying. You're saying like every child is just like your son.
I didn't say that.
Like the relationship that you have with your son. If you show him a good role model, they're gonna take after a good role model, and that's bullshit. Me myself, I had great role models, and who did I look at? The wrong people. Because I thought the wrong people were cool. Didn't matter what you said.
At the end of the day, Matt is right. Because at the end of the day, you're going to make your own choices. You can't make choices for your kids. Your kids are going to make mistakes.
Question, Mac, is it? Hey, Mac, is it the people that you looked up to's fault that you looked up to them?
No. In a sense, absolutely. They had no reason bringing me on a fucking corner at 11 years old. What reason did they have telling me to get in the Cadillac?
Clearly they weren't the proper role models.
They were 30 fucking years old, bro.
Clearly they weren't the proper.
Corrupting my 11-year-old
they weren't the right role models.
Yes. You gotta understand. Yes. You gotta understand when you live in an environment that when you see drug dealers and all that from the corner, so you should understand where Mac is coming from.
I understand where he's coming from in a sense that he looked up. I understand
at a young age. I know.
I understand that I understand that, like he said, he had the perfect role models around him, but he looked up to the wrong people. That's not the people that he looked up to's responsibility to be the perfect role model, though. Just because he looked up to them, that's not.
It wasn't.
That's what we're saying about Jado.
That's come with life choices. That's life choices.
It in pushing that type of lifestyle. Like, oh man, this is great. What we're doing is great. So what that kid sees, it's only what they see.
It's only what they see. Exactly.
Exactly. Like I said that. They
Regardless
only
of what
see John Morant. They only see John Morant as a cool basketball player. There's only been 2 videos came out with him doing something that would be considered unwarranted of a role model. These last 2 situations. Anything else that they see is him playing basketball.
Understanding that, but at the same time, it's monkey see, monkey do in this era, in this generation. It's monkey see, monkey do.
Not everybody's like that. Not everybody's like that, and like not everybody's. Not everybody's.
When you're looking for an outlet, when you're looking for an outlet outside of not having family or not having your parents, you're going to look for something else. You're going to, because I had to do it.
I think that people look for the answers in the wrong spot.
Sis, the conversation is about John. It was about John Morant in his situation. So, sis, the situation is that he's saying that what Charles Barkley said about John Morant is saying that he's not expected to look up to be a role model, which we completely understand that. But people have to understand that when it comes to doing these camps, doing these giving back to the community, things are inspiring. Yes, John Morant might not call himself a role model, but those kids think he's a role model because of what he does on the basketball court and what he does in the community. That consider them a role model. John Morant is not obligated to be a role model, but what he does makes him a role model.
Right. Simple. I'm not, but at the end of the day, he's not, like you just said, he's not obligated to be one. He's not obligated to be one.
He's not. But at the same time, he still does what he does for his community. He still does what he does for the kids, and the kids look up to him like a role model. Simple as that.
They look up to him like a role model, but he's not responsible. He's not required to be one.
We understand that, but
that's all I'm saying. That's all I've been saying the whole time.
The things that he's doing, if he doesn't think of himself as a role model, stop doing the things that you're doing, giving back to the community and doing all this extra stuff for the kids.
He can give back to the community. Gangsters give back to the community.
I'm going to say this stuff.
Gangsters give back to the community. Frank Lucas gave back to the community. Plenty of gangsters give back to the community. That don't mean that they're role models.
But John Morant is not a gangster, so it doesn't make sense.
This is true. I agree with that part of it. He's not a gangster, but he acts like one. He does gangster type shit, playing with guns, allegedly, having guns in the club, doing rap videos and stunting like he a rapper. You feel me? So he does things that's not becoming a role model, but he also does things that do look like a role model. Again, it's not his responsibility to be perfect.
It's not his responsibility, but like I said, monkey see, monkey do. These kids see anything on social media and want to be like these guys. Like people, you cannot act me. You cannot tell me a kid back in the day did not want to be like Michael Jordan. You cannot tell me that.
Why did he want to be like Michael Jordan though? It wasn't because of the shit he did off the court, because he didn't do shit off the court. What did he do off the court? What did Mike do off the court? Mike gambled. Mike gambled to smoke cigars.
Michael was
he was a womanizer.
Michael
he supported black black prisoners. What did he do off the court? That was inspiring. Sold shoes. What did he do?
Hold on.
I'm done with the conversation now. I'm done with the conversation. He did more than what Jared Vanderbilt did, but okay, another story for another time.
Jared Vanderbilt has no bearing here because he's been probably one of the most upstanding citizens in the league.
Oh Lord, please!
But that don't make him a role model.
Okay. Go ahead, Mac.
Listen, the deleting of the social medias was exactly what needs to happen, bearing both of your points. Okay, you're right. He there's nothing in his contract that says he has to be a role model. And so good. He can get off of social media. He can stop having a lot of people follow him. A lot of people, really bearing down on what he's doing day to day, what he's doing in his life, and trying to repeat that. And I think it's good for the kids. I think it's good for himself, and I think it's great for his family and the NBA. So absolutely, with what just happened, we're on par for. Yep, he's taken himself back. He's not going to be forced into the limelight and forced into a role he doesn't want to be in. That's cool, just like Chuck. You know what I mean? Who aspires to be Chuck anymore? Nobody wants to be Charles Barkley,
especially not when he was playing.
Yeah,
he made it avidly clear that I'm not a role model. Your children should not be looking up to athletes as role models.
Yeah,
They should be looking at you as a role model. Now, whether or not the house, the family dynamic is different or changed in some situations, that's understandable. But at the end of the day, there are plenty of people in the community that can be role models.
Ankle sprain was like giving birth. Ankle sprain for a basketball player was the same for a woman giving birth. Charles Barkley is fucking stupid. He says a lot of hot shit.
I agree.
But he's fucking stupid.
He's dumb. He's a dumbass analyst. He really is. He's a dumbass analyst. Get paid a lot of money.
I feel like
I like Chuck.
I like him too as a personality. But again,
I like Chuck as a personality. That's it. He gambles. He's a womanizer. You know what I mean? Like he's not a perfect role model by any stretch of the imagination. He supports fighting, allegedly in the game and shit like that.
Not having to be a role model is because so he can clear himself, so he can do whatever he wants, and he can say whatever he wants, and he can feel whatever he wants,
and he should.
Repercussion. That's why Charles Barkley came out with that bullshit because he should years ago.
As he should, because it's the truth. He's paid to play basketball. He's not paid to be anybody's role model.
We're not saying that though. I don't think me and Mac are saying that.
Kind of go hand in hand. If you play in the NBA, right, and you're good, and you're a good household name, more than likely you're gonna have a lot of people, a lot of kids looking
up to you. But we all know that you don't as a person. As if I'm an NBA player and I'm playing at the highest level of my career, and players and kids are looking up to me, but I don't consider myself a role model to them, but they consider a role model to me. I don't have an issue with that.
I think that we're speaking as if all the kids go to all his camps. All the kids don't go to all his camps. He doesn't have a touch with all
we're not
children.
Saying that. I just cleared it out just how it is. If I was in the NBA and I was John Morant and I was on the spotlight.
Those two things combined is what really.
And social media is a big thing for this young generation anyway.
He's young still too. So I'm not putting the responsibility on a 20-something-year-old kid to be a role model for children. It makes zero sense to me.
Grown man at 16 years old. If once you hit 25, I don't even want to hear kid shit. And he's older than 25. He's not a kid. He's a grown ass man. He knows what the fuck he's doing.
He's doing him. That's what he's doing. He's living his life.
He's doing him and is making himself look bad to his community and to the people that look up to him, not to him being a role model, but the kids that look up to him.
I think it's bad professionally. I think that's the issue because kids look up to gangsters. Kids look up to rappers. So he's not even one of those two things. He played with some guns.
But kids look up to basketball players. They absolutely
do. They look up to basketball players because of the shit they do in the sport.
The number one thing that kids look up to outside of drug dealers.
A lot of kids don't know what any of these players do outside of when they playing basketball. They don't know what they do in their day-to-day life.
That's what social media is for. That's what social media is for.
You only get a glimpse.
Social media is for.
Social media. The thing with social media, you only see what I allow you to see. Not what you don't see everything. You only see what I allow you to see.
And that's what John Morant did. He allowed them to show the gun.
If he didn't, he would
because he showed the gun.
One of his homeboys was on live. He was on for a while.
What he could have did was on that second live. What he could have did was like, yo, bro, why are you putting me on live with these guns? Like,
right, I agree with that.
That's what he should have did. That's what he should have did. But he didn't. He made that choice as a grown ass man to be on live. He made that choice.
I think the guy recorded him in the car. They were in there turned up. He put his phone up, and recorded him, and then he put it down real quick.
He knew the guy was going live. Come on now. How you telling me somebody sitting in the car in the driver's seat?
I ain't saying that.
Motherfucker going live. Come on now.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that wasn't him though. He didn't go live. The guy went live. What are you supposed to do? Shoot him?
In John Morant's situation and what he's going through and what happened in the last 2 months, he has to be mindful of what he's doing now. He has to be mindful. And mindful mean like if you see this guy go live, you got to tell that motherfucker to shut it down.
I think he needed to be mindful because of the professional and the professional ramifications with his job, not the fact that he would look like a bad role model.
No, I'm saying that's just an add-on for me.
We're just saying.
on.
We just said for his career in itself, you have to be mindful because at the end of the day, the NBA is not going to be around all your life. You're not going to be making millions all your life. You're just not. You're just not. Yeah, or they can be taken away from you like this because the NBA does not play that shit. It doesn't. And I still feel like NBA gave him a slap on the wrist the first time because he was actually on his social media the first time. He should have had more than fucking 8 games in the first time. But what you did was you slapped in the face of a brand that you're working for, and now you might have a long, lengthy suspension without pay on that.
I mean, look at the last guy who had something happen with a gun. He got shot in a nightclub, and what happened? He got suspended for an entire year. And he's
in Plaxico?
No, I'm talking about NBA. The NBA.
Who got shot? I think Paul Pierce got stabbed in the nightclub.
No. I'm talking about oh man, I can't remember his name.
He was in. I don't know. I can't recall the NBA player that got shot in the nightclub though.
Yeah, it was an NBA player. It was in New York, I believe. That's where they were at. They were in New York when it happened. They got into an argument. Gun went off. He got shot in his leg.
I thought that was Plaxico. I'm not sure. I thought that was Plaxico with the. I mean,
Gilbert Arenas had gun problems too.
Yeah, Gilbert Arenas never. You feel me? Like he had gun issues, but guns and shit.
But when Gilbert Arenas was doing it, social media wasn't as big.
True.
That's the thing. That's the issue with it. Social media is such a big part in this whole thing. Because I feel like if Ja Morant had guns and we didn't have social media, we will not know.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to flaunt. Everybody wants to fake the funk on social media that you're this and that you're that. And mind you, a lot of celebrities show their everyday life. They really do. Especially a lot of
people live.
I follow a lot of them.
I think that these people they live in contradictions like most people do. People say and do shit, and they do the opposite things on other ends as well. Like it happens all the time. It happens all the time. So I'm not shocked by it. I'm not surprised by the stuff that he does. You feel me? Because again, he's still young to me. To me personally, he's still a young kid, still trying to figure out what the hell to do. He's got millions of dollars. Like, what the hell are you expecting to do? He's gonna stunt. He's gonna ball out. He's in the city of Memphis. The people that he's looking up to is the people that he's looking up to, not because they're good people, but they're doing cool shit. That's why people look up to people in most scenarios. Some have inspiring stories because they come from that area or they came to do certain hardships and shit like that. But a lot of them are inspiring because of the things that they do on the playing field or wherever they do. That's why they're inspiring. That's why people aspire to be them.
But we live in a world with social media where kids have social media and they go look on these men's profiles outside of them being on the basketball court.
These are kids with social medias. Who controls that? Who controls them having a social media? Parents.
All right, we need to find a different word. Because, see, you're saying kids, and when I'm thinking of kids that you're talking about, I'm thinking from like 13 to like 18-year-olds.
Right, that's what I'm thinking of.
But those are
started kids on social media because it is like my son, I didn't give him a social media account at all until he was 10 years old. He wasn't allowed on Facebook or any of that shit. And now I still edit on what he sees.
I think that's too old. That's too young.
None of my nieces that's under the age of 12 cannot get on social media. And I'll let that be known. I'll let that be known to their mothers. They cannot be.
My son make TikTok videos. He make TikTok videos. That's the furthest social media he goes.
TikTok is not even great for kids anymore either. I agree.
Hey, relax.
It makes it crazy out here. It really does.
Yeah, no, and like I said, just from the presence alone and all the stuff adding up, absolutely, I can see where, there are going to be some kids out there that truly see him as a role model. And now it's like, it's kind of muddled the water a little bit. But regardless, either way you push it, he knew what he was doing, and now he's deleting his accounts. Hopefully he's making a change for the better. He's seeing where he messed up at.
Right.
He builds off the positive and continues to do so and can become a good role model for every, for the kids to look up to and say, man, I want to be a Memphis Grizzly. I want to play like Ja. And, from that standpoint, absolutely. Does he owe it to anybody? No. But if his actions continue down the same road, he won't have to worry about being a role model anymore because he won't be relevant anymore.
Right. I agree with that. Like you say, I agree with that. They inspire to be him like that on the basketball court, not off the court. They see the great shit he does on the basketball court, and that's inspiring because shit, they're young black kids, small. You feel me? Coming from inner city, and they think that shit, I can make it and do that. I can play basketball that way, but not the off the court shit though.
But we're living in a world where they see stuff that's off the court as well. We gotta live. We're like when we was growing up, we really didn't have that. We didn't have the Instagram. We didn't have. I mean, we had Facebook, but Facebook was mainly for college kids at the point when we were growing up. If you look at we didn't have a Snapchat. Twitter was around, but Twitter wasn't popping like it is now.
Facebook until after I graduated high school.
Exactly. I didn't have a Facebook in high school either.
Out there like that. Like, I remember MySpace. We got on MySpace.
We had MySpace. When MySpace was really like
everybody get together. You know what I mean? Like that was the extent of social media, and that wasn't even pictures and videos and shit.
You couldn't get on MySpace, but back then when you had a flip phone, you had to use T9 to be on MySpace. MySpace ain't have an app back then. Hell no. Like, come on, shit. Social media is so bigger now. It's crazy.
It's the thing with social media because I never really got into the whole hoopla of social media because people share what they want you to see. It's not that they're walking around with IRL cameras on them the entire time that they're living as far as a reality show. They post the stuff that they want you to see, or you only see what they're allowed to see. Like people go on people's profile and say, "Oh, you're this and you're that." You don't know me because of some shit that I posted on in three spaces. You don't know anything about me. You know anything about my day-to-day life.
Which is absolutely true. But
even the most upstanding people, Christians, and church people,
we got to a point in social media where celebrities show their everyday life. It's getting to, but you know why I say that? You know why I say that? But because if you look at how social media is now, what happened with P&B Rock, what happened with Pop Smoke, what happened with all these guys, when you're starting to put your location on social media and you doing all this yap and talk and think people are not going to pull up because you're this big name. No, it's not like what it used to be back then.
Yeah, I think that the ramifications behind doing those things are a problem.
Celebrities putting their social media out there, putting their location out there, and then boom. Right. Look what happened.
Those are legitimate issues. Those are legitimate issues for sure. Not questioning that. You shouldn't do those things on the internet or on social media. I just think that the aftermath and the part that we're having this disconnect on is whether or not whether or not children should look up to these people or whether or not the people that they're looking up to should operate in ways that are more becoming of people that should be looked up to. And it's just not. Those two things don't correlate for me because I'm a parent that sees myself as the biggest role model for my child. My dad was the biggest role model for me, and I didn't look up to people other than the things that they do, not for the people that they are. Look at the rappers because they rap cool and they have cool shit, not because of the shit that they do off the court. But look at the basketball players like Kobe and AI because they play good basketball, not because of who they were off the court. It was because of what they did.
AI is a totally different topic here because AI was the reason why hip hop came into basketball. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I was one of the guys that brought hip hop into basketball, but
I agree with that. But
AI, the game, but everybody wanted to be like AI with the cornrows and the jersey,
right? The visual shit, not because of the shit that he did off the court. Because off the court, he was a menace. He was a menace before he even got to the NBA.
Well, we all know that, but he definitely changed his life in the NBA. But we all know that people wanted to wear his cornrows and stuff like that. AI wasn't like that same person that he was when he lived in Virginia.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, in a sense of what we're saying, like he wasn't the perfect role model off the court. We only looked at him because he had braids like me. We see visual shit. It's not the shit that he does in his day-to-day life. We see, he got braids, he got the baggy shorts.
Came up in a world where there's no social media either. You have to look at it from a social media standpoint. That's
I think that the impact of social media can be overblown sometimes because people put more value into it than the actual day-to-day shit. That's the problem.
So
people value it too much.
But I get it.
People value it too much.
This is where I get confused at is because it's like I get you're a parent. I get you have a son. But again, like, so what are the people supposed to do when my son looked up to one of these shitheads on social media? How am I supposed to get him to say, okay, I take away his social media? Well, now he's angry at me, but he's still looking up to that guy, and anything he sees on that guy, he's going to emulate that guy. So what? I mean, as a parent, what are you supposed to do then? What are you supposed to beat the shit out of him?
I think what's crazy about it is
take every single thing from him. Are you?
I think there's plenty of ways that you can communicate. If you have that relationship with your child, there's plenty of ways that you can communicate with your child You feel me? And plenty of things that you can show your child to show them that that's not the right way to go. And if you have that impact on your child, if you have that impact on your child through the years of grooming and being there for them and shit like that, if you've built up that rapport, then your child will listen to you. Your child will be inspired by you and the things that you say. If you put in the time to do that. If you haven't put in the time to do that or put in the effort to make that a thing, then it won't be a thing. You're right.
But let me throw this little trick out there, because these kids are
what they're asked, no matter what they're asked. No matter what.
What makes it? You just trigger something for me, Mac, because these kids are smart today. They are smart today. So say if you take away your social, take away his phone. Forget he goes to school. When they have that downtime, they could go on their friend phone and sign into their social media. These kids are smart these days. They're smart, but make bad choices at the same time.
You know what that is?
That's how these kids are. And kids at the age of 13 and 18 is going to make mistakes. They're not going to be perfect. Yes, you might tell them how to do things and what to do to things, but at the end of the day, they're still going to make bad choices because that's part of life. Everybody makes bad choices.
It speaks to, again, it speaks to the level of impact that you have on your own individual child.
I disagree. I can agree to disagree, but sometimes you can tell your kid what to do as much as possible. But at the end of the day, when they get older, they still gonna try to find a way to make their own choices. They're going to find their own way to make their own choices. Sometimes that choice might be a bad choice. Sometimes that might be a good choice. At the end of the day, you could put everything in a kid's head as much as you can. You can put as much knowledge into your kid's head, but at the same time, it's all about life choices. When you make your life choice and you make the choices that you make, that's the mistakes you have to build off of.
Listen,
you can't be blind by that.
I'm not blind by it, but I just think that as a parent, I have had more impact over my child than anybody he's ever
and that might be fine. But some kids out there ain't your son either.
But that again, like I said, every case is different. Okay.
Right.
I've seen parents that have it like what you have it right now. You know what I mean? Where you are your kid's biggest role model. Everything is going your way. He listens, he respects you, but then all of a sudden he turns 16. And he no longer cares what you think. He no longer cares. Everybody grew up with somebody like a Ray, who I grew up with. Both his parents lived at home together. Both his parents had good jobs. All three of his siblings were happy, very like normal people. Ray, it don't matter how much good advice you gave him, no matter how many talking tos his parents gave him, no matter what they did, what they promised to give him, what they did give him, what outcomes, it always did the same. He always did what he wanted to do. And Ray loved to make bad choices. He didn't need to make bad choices. He had so many things that were right there in front of him that all he had to do was like, yep, okay, I'll do this. But instead, he continued to make bad choices. And again, that's how some of these kids are just wired. They're just wired to do the opposite of what they're told. No matter how much good, loving care that they are given, they do.
I think it's some. Some that's true. In some that's true, but I think that the percentages. I think the percentages is not.
I know an example.
To say, with good parenting and good love, and if you do right, and your kids are going to be great. That's bullcrap. I was a shitty kid.
I don't think it's bullcrap because at the end of the day, it's proven.
I think it's BS because I went through it. One of my best friends was one of the top ball players in the city of Philadelphia, had good grades, did not get into no trouble, and respected his parents, but he was at the wrong place at the wrong time and lost his life. Because that's the trick that he decided to go with those people when he really didn't need to. So it's all about choices at the end of the day. It's all about life choices at the end of the day. So sometimes you could be in a great home. You could do the great thing. You can have the great grades. You're on your way to college. And then you go somewhere where you're not supposed to be.
I agree with that, but I think
that... No, hear me out. Because your kid decided to go. That was his choice. That was his choice. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's a choice. That's a choice.
I think that again,
when you're a product of your environment and you feel like your friends is in the streets because they're your friends and you feel like you need to go hang out with them, and something happens, it's a choice. You as a parent, you can't stop that because that's his choice. You can't
I just
stop
think that
that as a parent.
I just think that at the end of the day, I think that I think that you two are kind of overstating the frequency at which this happens. What's the percentage of single parent households in Black communities? It's not above 50%. Above 50%. All this is universal for all children. That's what I'm saying, because there's plenty of examples of people that have came from better.
I don't know about that.
It's plenty. I mean, because it is, because all children don't experience.
Let me look this up.
All children don't experience that. All children don't experience the case of you have a good household but you do the wrong things. That's not the case in all households. It's not the case in majority of households.
What I'm saying, but
I'm saying that's not the case in majority either. That's the minority.
10%.
That's the minority, but we overstate it. We
5
overstate it and we over glorify it because it is bad. So you want to point out the bad, but we don't point out the good in the 75% of the other households where people are doing the right thing and they look up to the right people. We're overstating the fact that it does happen, but it's not as bad as you think.
57.6% of Black children and 31.2% of Hispanic children and 20.7% of white children is living absent without their biological fathers. 57.
Right. You say just because you don't have a biological father doesn't mean you don't have a good household. Are we correlating those two things and be the same?
But you go together. How you said what was the percentage of fathers being in the household? The fathers.
Right, but I'm just saying, does that mean that you're not going to be a good child? That you don't have a good upbringing because you don't have both of your parents?
Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's not.
How many times? Sometimes, how many out of 100? How many out of 100 you think? What, 30, 40?
No.
Is this majority? No, it's not above 50.
You don't know. We don't know
realistic.
That, though. At the end of the day, it's a majority. A lot of kids out here that's living without a father. They're locked up or in jail or dead or on drugs.
Single parent homes, especially single mother homes. I just watched a whole documentary with my wife about this. Okay, it is. You are 9 times more likely than to end up in prison, strung out on drugs, to be in horrible situations. Like, and I mean, there's plenty of whole list, but those are the main 2 things that they went off of. And this is Black, brown, and white families.
Exactly.
And it's you're 9 times more likely to be put in a bad situation, to have a bad life, to end up in prison, to end up on drugs, to end up in some horrible situation because of this. That's why it's super important to have, 2 parents, even if they're not technically in the same household, when they still co-parent and they
still co-parent, right?
Absolutely. But then even still, the odds are tremendous. Everyone is different. Everyone is to each their own. And that's exactly it. Like, everybody has to be taught differently. Everybody's perspective is differently. And again, especially young boys. Young boys don't hit mental maturity until they're about 21.
For real.
25.
For real.
So I get it, where it's like you have teenagers and young boys and it's just that 13 to 18 really is where you mold them. And some kids, it doesn't matter how hard you try. They don't see it until they want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Why I say, some boys don't get it until they're 18. Sometimes literally,
I just think it goes into the work that the parents do or the role model does. And I think that if they're not putting in the proper work, then you'll see the proof of the pudding.
But what are you putting in? What if you are putting in the proper work and you still and your kids decide to still make a bad choice?
I'm just saying how frequent. I'm not saying that that's not true, but I'm just saying how frequent is that though? How frequent is that? What's the frequency of that? That's not.
But we have seen it. We have seen it.
I'm not saying I agree because I live in Baltimore, so I've seen it. I'm not saying that it's not outside of the realm of possibility that it's 0% chance. What I'm saying is that it doesn't happen as frequent, and we're overstating it in the sense that it's more prevalent than what it really is. To me, I think so, because I've come from a situation where my dad wasn't necessarily always around. My mom was a single parent. I had stepfathers, I had uncles, I had people that were great role models around me that molded me to be the person that I was. I haven't been in trouble.
That's
I haven't been
you.
locked up. There's plenty of people
That's
like
you.
me. There's plenty of people like me, and there's plenty of people like y'all too.
That's what makes it 50-50.
I don't think it's 50-50 though.
I think so.
No way.
I think it's 50-50. I don't think it's the majority. The majority came up the way of your upbringing, and then there's less of people that didn't have your upbringing. I think it's balanced. I really think it's balanced.
No way. That's not realistic to think. No way.
I think it's balanced. I mean, for me, I think it's the only reason why I think it's balanced because you have 50% of people that have your lifestyle and you had the upbringing that you had. But you got to think about it. It's kids out there on the other side of the tracks that didn't have your upbringing.
It's kids that didn't have a father. There's kids that didn't have a father or dad, a father or mom. They didn't have a dad or mom.
Mothers either. Some kids don't have mothers either.
Some people were brought up by their grandparents. Grandfathers.
Some kids don't have nothing. Like that. All they have is the system. All they have is the system, and the system is not set up for them to succeed. Period.
It's people like shit. Look, here's the perfect example of somebody that not necessarily perfect example, but that shows that it can be done like me, but on a grander scale. LeBron James. LeBron doesn't know his damn dad. LeBron doesn't know his dad. He doesn't have any interaction with his dad. He's a great dad, though. You feel me? So I think
He didn't know his dad, but everybody knew about LeBron James situation. We all knew the LeBron James situation. I mean, it was in the spotlight since he was like what 16 years old.
He was in the spotlight. He didn't have his dad. His mom.
Knew who LeBron James was at 16.
He wanted to be a great player so he could get out of the ghetto and support his damn mom. That's what he wanted to do because his dad wasn't around.
I got a question for you. Since you just said that, does that inspire kids to do the same thing LeBron James did?
As far as what the come out of
what you just laid out,
right to get out of the ghetto and and support their family. Yeah, that people do that all the time.
So that's the same thing I was saying with John Morant. Case closed.
It's not the same thing, though.
Case closed.
It's not the same thing at all.
Case closed.
It's not the same thing at all.
It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. John Morant did the job. It might not be the same thing for John Morant not having a father because he does have a father.
It's not the same thing at all.
John Morant did the same thing to get his family out the hood.
What did he do? His family wasn't in the hood. His family wasn't in the hood.
I don't know John Morant's upbringing. I'm just going off of what's going on. I don't know what John Morant came from. I knew that he played in college and that's it. I don't know
mom had a good job. He played basketball because he wanted to play basketball. He was a good player. He went to Murray State.
You remember the end disc about Clarence? Well, John Morant is Clarence.
Well, let's see.
He went to a private school, all that good shit. Yeah, John, that's what I'm saying.
He had the perfect upbringing, but then he decided to look up to the wrong people once he got money. He ain't start doing this shit till he got goddamn money. And he living in Memphis in a crazy ass environment. And he started looking up to the wrong people. That's the problem. He started looking up and being influenced by the wrong folks instead of the people that he grew up with his whole entire life that showed him the perfect way. His dad showed him the perfect way. And he decided to do something differently. And that's not incumbent on the people that he looked up to, though.
What does that go back to me saying? He made a choice.
Right, but he made a choice. The people that he looked up to didn't make that choice.
As a young athlete, as a kid, knowing that he didn't come from the city, he didn't come from the inner city, he didn't come from this. He had everything handed to him, and he still made a bad choice.
I agree. I agree that he made a bad choice, but it's not the responsibility of the people that he looked up to. That's not their fault. It's not their fault.
And me and Mac has agreed that we're not saying that. We just feel like the kids are thinking that he's a role model. John Morant probably don't think of himself as a role model. He probably doesn't. But those kids that he put into the camps, that he put into the community, that he gives back to, think of him in that way. He's not responsible of being that way because he's not.
But yeah, why do they think of him that way? Because of the things that he do for them, not because of the things that he does in his day-to-day life. So
Monkey see, Monkey do.
Yeah, they're copying the things that he does in the day-to-day life as far as giving back, not the shit he does in his day-to-day life off the court when he's not giving back. He don't copy those things.
I don't know what world you're living in where you think that I'm
I live in a world where those two things are separate. Where people do things to make themselves look good, but they do other shit that make that clearly are bad. Gangsters gave out turkeys.
And you think those kids
just gave out turkeys.
And you think those kids is not looking at John Morant's Instagram.
I'm not saying that they don't. I never once said that they don't. You're changing the argument. What I'm saying is that it's not John Morant's responsibility to be this upstanding citizen. It's not.
We agreed on that.
Okay, then. So if you agree with that basis, then it's not his responsibility to be a role model. Then because he's not responsible.
Stop. Okay, I'm not gonna have this conversation no more.
You can't say to stop doing things that are not connected to his day-to-day life. He's not. That's not what he's not in the camp showing them how to load a gun.
Final word before we go to the next topic, because I'm not having this topic. I just know. There's no way around it.
If you put it on social media, and he did put a bunch of videos out on social media, and he's very present in social media, when you show a lot of that stuff, then yes, then it becomes influential. And then what you're doing is you're showing all your fan base, regardless of just the kids. You're just showing everybody the stupid shit. And yeah,
I agree. When you post a lot of that shit, you're showing that shit. But does that make him responsible for what the people do because of the shit that he does? No, not at all.
I mean,
it doesn't make him responsible for the decision.
You saw what he did, and somebody said, "Oh, I did it because John Morant did it." Yeah. That's bad. That's a problem. That's
bad. That's bad. And they looking at the negative shit that he's doing and being inspired by.
They're looking at him as a person. Period. Negative or positive doesn't matter.
All right, topic.
I wanted to get into the NFL because I wanted to talk about this new rule that they came out with, because I didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday, and it kind of pissed me off. I talked about it on the Nothing But Raiders podcast about them passing this new
kickoff
fair catch rule.
Oh shit.
So now they have the new fair catch rule to try to make the game safer. So what they're doing is now they bringing the college football rule in. It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter where you call the fair catch. The ball is going to be placed at the 25-yard line. So it don't have to be in the end zone anymore to be called a fair catch.
What if they call a fair catch at the 30 though?
No, it always was at the 25-yard line. But
no, I'm saying, what if somebody calls a fair catch at the 30? They kick a pop-up kick and they catch at the 30. That's what they've been trying to combat is the pop-up kick shit. They're trying to combat that shit where the motherfucker popping it up in the air, you catch it at the 30, and then somebody get whacked. But this rule doesn't make sense because they're taking it back to the 25. That's dumb.
No, what you're trying to do is cut back on return injuries.
Yep, they're trying to cut back on returns injuries.
The guy is just going to fair catch it or he's going to kneel it down.
Right.
I think that's the most violent part of the game almost is the returns. And the returns, because you can get a full sprint speed start for about 45, 50 yards and make a contact with somebody that can't move.
And that's why I love the XFL's kickoff. That's why I love the XFL kickoff over the NFL kickoff.
Like that, I feel like that's
you shorten the ranges that they have to run. I like that. And they can't run until they catch the ball.
XFL, the kicker starts at the 30-yard line. And I think is the returning team is at the 35, and then the kickoff team is on the 35, and then the return
team is 5 yards apart,
and they cannot move until the returner catches the ball.
Yeah,
that's the most safest way you can put it. For real. That's the most safest way you can put it. But now every time you give it a fair catch, it goes to the 25-yard line. That is just such a stupid move on the NFL. It's stupid.
I mean, again, I feel like they just did it to entice more people to take a fair catch, put it at the 25-yard line versus trying to run it back and get past the 20-yard line.
I gotta feed this baby, man. I'm right back.
All right.
She's wilding too much. She's crying on the TV.
And it's only on a 1-year trial for this NFL rule.
Okay.
A 1-year trial. But I think this is not going to stick around. I just don't see it sticking around, in my opinion. Man, like, how do you make it safe? How do you make it safe this way? That's what I'm trying to really figure out, this analogy of making it safe.
I mean, because I guarantee that at least 30 times or more this year, a team, instead of having their guy run it back, they're going to call for him to fair catch it. because it entices you to get 5 more yards, because it used to be the 20-yard line. If you fair called it, then you get to the 20-yard line. Well, now you get 5 yards, and you can do it past the end zone.
So if you fair catch it, so technically, if you fair catch it at the 10-yard line, they're going to move it to the 25-yard line. Basically, that is ridiculous. That's just bad filth. That's just helping out the offense for real, for real.
I mean, get a better kicker. You won't have that problem. I don't worry about them problems.
No, I'm just saying, like, I know you don't have to worry about those problems, which I don't either, because Daniel Carlson is right up there. So we here with it. You got Tucker, I got Carlson, so we're good. But when it comes to kicking the football, say if they fair catch at the 5-yard line, I think that's where they need to start their offense at. If you go fair catch at the 5-yard line, and you get that position to go to the 25-yard line, I feel bad for defenses.
We're only talking about kickoffs, right?
Yes, kickoffs.
Okay, just kickoffs. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's a kickoff. It's not like it's a punt return. It's not like, you know what I mean. They're extending an actual play. You know what I mean? And they're only going to give it to you to the 25-yard line. But that's.
Do you feel like that messes up defenses for bad field position? Because just think about it. If you field catches the 5-yard line, that's where your offense is going to start at.
Not at all. Not at all. For the same thing is, you don't think that it can still be a muff. They're still going to muff it. Somebody's going to wind up muffing it next year, and they're going to think they're going to just fair catch it on the 5-yard line, and this guy's not going to stop running at him. And sure as shit, the guy will muff the ball, touchdown. If anything, I see it more and more as an opportunity.
I don't know. I just feel like it just feels. I just feel bad for defenses because they're trying to make everything compare for the offense. It's like there's no way if I'm fair catching it at the 5, and then after the fair catch, my offense automatically goes to the 25-yard line. That's just. That makes me feel some kind of way about that.
But is that what
because we live in a game where field position really matters.
I mean, yeah, but again, like if you got a good defense, it's not going to matter if the ball is on the 5 or the 30. If your defense is going to play lights out, your defense will play lights out.
But your defense got a better chance to get a safety or a pick 6 when you're starting at the 5-yard line. I'm just listen. I mean, as a Raiders fan, I need for this to stop.
And like I said, again, what happens when the guy doesn't fair catch it and he runs out of the end zone and he gets tackled at the 5-yard line? He stays at the 5-yard line. That's only for a fair catch.
But we're going to see a lot of people do fair catches there to be smartasses. The players is not stupid. They're going to fair catch it any way they can to get it at the 25-yard line.
Where's the line for the fair catches? Did they say it's all the way out to the 25-yard line?
Yes, it says that according to Ian Rappaport, it says that because I looked at it on Twitter yesterday. Let me just pull it up again. Because it definitely says that it goes. Where's that? Okay, here we go. So it says that the NFL passed a new rule to an all fair catch on touch. All fair catches and touchbacks goes to the 25-yard line on kickoffs. Sources said. Now, the same as the college rule, the thought that this would make the game safer, those special team coaches around the league and opposed to change. So it's for, we already knew fair catches, and so technically a touchback goes to the 25-yard line, and now fair catches on kickoffs go to the 25-yard line.
Okay, so it's not so in the end zone. So as long as they're in the end zone, yeah. If they fair catch it at the 5, they're going to be at the 5-yard line. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, okay. So it's not as bad as we thought it was. But
it says all fair catches and touchbacks, all. So when I hear that, I'm thinking like, okay, so if I fair catch it at the 5-yard line, I'm automatically getting moved to the 25. That's what I'm insuiting from what he said.
Okay, I you know what, we need to wait for more definition of that new rule change, because I mean, from both standpoints, that would be like, okay, if the kicker muffed the fucking ball and it only got to the fucking 30, you know what I mean? It was flying up to 30 and somebody fair called it. Are they going to move it back to the 25?
That's,
you know what I'm saying? We need more definition to that rule. As far as the rule goes, if they're talking about in the end zone fair catches, in the touchbacks and stuff, if they're talking about moving that to the 25, yes, 100%, because it's
okay. I got the whole thing for it now. So it says NFL owners voted on Tuesday to approve the solution that allow players to fair catch on kickoffs and resulting possession beginning at the team's own 25-yard line. The new rule specifies that the fair catch off a free kick, it says specifies that the fair catch off a free kick, in parentheses, safety or kickoff, must occur behind the team's 25-yard line in order for the ball to be placed at the 25-yard line. The rule change will be for 1 year only, with the league citing that player safety as a reason for this proposal. The kickoff play for us has been a play that has been a lot of changes for us over the years and really been driven by the health and safety, according to Rich McKay, the chairman of the NFL Competition Committee, told the NFL Network Joe Batista that the concussion rate on the play has gone up and is going up because the bell of being to return more kicks and being hung aside the 5-yard line. College made this rule change in maybe 2018 and 2019, and we look at their data and said, you know what, this might be the right thing to do now. Now, McKay and the NFL executive Jeff Miller said Tuesday the modeling said that kickoff return rate will decrease from 38 to 31% in the concussion rate and will drop 15% due to approve proposal. We need to do something, McKay added, and we just can't sit here and ignore that data. That's what was said on NFL.com about this rule. So basically, it's saying that fair catch on a free kick, which is safety or kickoff, must occur behind the team's 25-yard line in order for the ball to be placed at the 25-yard line. So meaning, if you place it, if you get the fair catch at the 5-yard line, it's going to the 25.
Okay.
Oh, the NFL just gets more weirder and weirder, bro.
No, I mean, I get it, and that's fine. Because, again, you still have the chance of getting it on the 5-yard line if the dumb fucker tries to run it. If he doesn't fair catch it and he runs it, or even if he fair catches it and then tries to take off. You know what I mean? You still have the opportunity. Anybody takes it out, it pretty much, if your team doesn't call for a fair catch or kneel down for the touchback, you're fucking stupid, and you deserve whatever happens to you.
Wow.
So
what a personal episode of the Darion Hopkins Show. A very, very personal episode of it. And Real Goons TV, this is your fault. This is your fault. You brought this topic to us. This wasn't even put on the topic list. Damn it. Real Goons TV, this is all your fault, damn it. Bringing this John Morant crap to me. I thought we wouldn't want to talk about this no more. Darn, I thought we was getting away from talking about the Sixers, getting away from the Lakers and everything, and we get back to John Morant. God damn it, Real Goons TV. Damn you.
What else you got on the agenda for today?
Listen, it wasn't really that much. It was really that and another NFL topic, but I mean, it's really not too much NFL to really talk about if you think about it. I mean, until the actual preseason and training camp actually happens, then we could talk about it.
Oh, no. Second week of June, baby. Second week of June. We're going to ride that second wave of free agency. Come on now.
We can, but
come on. There's going to be at least 5 to 6 big names that get chopped. Then there's going to be another 3 to 4 to get traded. So, I mean, I'm all for it.
We can wait for that second week of June. We could definitely do that.
Definitely do that. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm saying it ain't. We got a few stops before then. Few stops. So, I'm excited.
See, there you go. You starting Real Goons TV. You're starting. What you think about Bryce Young? Bryce Young just looked like a high school player behind a NFL offensive line. He looked like a junior varsity quarterback behind an NFL offensive line. That's what I think of Bryce Young.
He throws like an NFL quarterback, though. I watched some of the Panthers practice videos they had on ESPN and on NFL.com just to see what he was looking like. Yeah, he looks kind of like Kyler Murray. You know, they got stature, but it's again, it's like what can he actually do? And watching him slide around the pocket and move around and throw the ball, dude, he's got great touch.
I just really hope that he doesn't turn out like the Kyler Murray that don't want to read playbooks.
Oh no, you're talking about two different guys there. Bryce Young, that kid's going to be a gamer. He's going to come to every single game as prepared as he can possibly be, and I expect him. Like, no, I don't. He probably won't win Rookie of the Year, but I guarantee over the next 3 years you'll see steady strides of improvement.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And him and what's his name, Stroud for the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I look forward to them two doing heavy battles.
So just to let you know, D'Amico Ryan did say that he's not going to hand CJ Stroud the job. He's just not. And I like that mentality of a coach. I like that.
You cannot. Again, this is the coach that they've needed. This is the coach that they needed, a true guy who's going to come in, who knows this organization, who knows the people in the front office, knows the owners, knows everybody from every step, and has the respect of everybody from the top of the chain all the way down to the ball boys.
Right.
Everybody knows him. Everybody respects him. And I feel like he's going to change the culture that in a way that this team, I don't think has ever been changed before.
Hey, it's gonna be really interesting, that second wave of free agency, man. And I hope the Raiders do some damn jobs, because we do need help at the linebacker position so badly, especially when it just come to depth as that. So,
I mean,
shout out to Eric.
We got Queen for a first round pick.
I don't want Queen because he doesn't cover. Sorry.
Hey, he did a real good job the second half of the year with Raekwon. He did pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, that's Roquan Smith. I mean, we don't have no linebackers aside him that can actually help him in that nature. I mean, let's be real. So, Pyramid's a Texan now, so Pyramid's a Texan now, so he's gone. So, I mean, like, hey, I mean, let's see what these Raiders do in free agency, and let's see what the Ravens do in free agency. Let's see who they pick up in the second wave. You just never know. You never know. But
and I'm hoping for a defensive tackle.
Yeah. I'm not relying on first year in rookies to be our defensive tackles. I'm with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, and see, the difference is, though, like you guys play a different brand of ball. So, you know, with McDaniels as your head coach, the defense is more of a prevent. So if you can have a good prevent defense that keeps the other team from scoring over 21 points, and your offense can put up 28 points a game, you'd be all right.
I'm not happy with that. I'm not.
Oh, but again, you're at a rebuilding stage. You literally came out of a trash can fire with Mike. With Mike.
We've been in a rebuilding since 2002. We only had 2 good seasons in that era, 2016 and 2020.
You had Mike and John there that fucked your whole franchise up.
I looked at the podcast that Mike Mayock was on. I forgot he was on, but he said that majority of those draft picks that he went out and got, it wasn't even his picks, because Gruden had the power. When Mark Davis signed John Gruden on that 10-year deal, he gave him the power to as far as drafting and everything. So Mike Mayock was just there to just be a GM, just be whatever.
I feel like if Al Davis gets a haircut, man, like I feel
Mark
like
Davis ain't getting no haircut, bro. That's $1 million haircut for him.
I feel like that's a bad juju, man. Get a better haircut, and I promise you, your team will play better.
He's not going to get their haircut, bro.
When they come out the tunnel,
just let him wear a Raiders hat and never take it off. Just let him wear a Raiders hat and listen. I don't care. Just let him wear a Raiders hat and never take it off. You know how Hulk Hogan is, where he wear that little fake blonde hair in the back, but he wears his bandana. Never take your bandana off, Hulk Hogan. That's how Mark Davis need to be.
Yeah. He need to do something, man, because at this point, like, as long as I can remember, he's had that bad haircut, and as long as I can remember, y'all been shit.
Facts.
And,
But
like, come on, man. Like, let's go. Like, I remember being a little kid. I'm young. I'm old enough that I can remember the Bo Jackson years into the 90s and all that. And it's just like, man, the trajectory that the black and gold had, the 70s with Gruden, with Madden, and then all the way up until fucking Gruden got there the first time. Like you guys were like right fucking there.
Facts.
And so it's like you guys have had your days in the sun, but at the same time, it's also been like front office, front office, front office.
And just to let y'all know, we didn't even get a chance to do the bet us today. As far as the parlay for baseball, we had some parlays for baseball, but we'll definitely come back to it tomorrow. That topic was a really deep topic that we talked about today. So, what I would do is that I'm going to screenshot them in the stories of the Darion Hopkins Show. I'm going to screenshot them in my social medias to let y'all know if whatever bets that y'all want to take. I'm going to tag Mac in it to let you know that's where I got it from. I still had the screenshots of those, so I do apologize that we did not get to that actual topic there. But we'll do some bets tomorrow. Probably do a little bit, of course, the Game 5 bet, and do a little bit of some other baseball bets as well. But
I'm already putting some stuff together for the game.
See, you already heard it first here. But
yeah,
we out of here, y'all. Same time, same place. Very, very personal for me because I come up in the inner city. I think that we all came up in the inner city, so it was really, really a different type of Darion Hopkins show. Not all sports. And I think that it was a healthy understanding, but you know how we are, man. You know how we are. But it is what it is. Same time, same place. We'll see you tomorrow, Thursday, May 25th. Memorial Day weekend is coming up, so make sure y'all go out and get y'all barbecue, get whatever y'all got to do, have a drink, do whatever. I'm going to. Matter of fact, let me send you it right now. Let me send this to you right now. But same time, same place. We out of here. See y'all tomorrow. No live streams tonight. There's no WNBA going on. There's no NBA going on. And I have a video recording gig that I have to go to and be at by 6:00. So no live play-by-plays tonight for the Darion Hopkins Show YouTube channel. We out of here, y'all, and we see y'all in another time, another place, which I know where we be at. 12:00 every day, Monday through Friday. We out of here, y'all. Peace out.